This is the Patriots pregame show, fueled by Duncan.
He's throwing it toward Thornton, right corner of the end zone, caught! Touchdown New England!
The Patriots pregame show is your source for all the news and information before every game.
He took it to the house! Again!
There we
and
go!
The Patriots take the lead!
With Matt Smith, Mike Dussault, Paul Perillo, and Tamara Brown.
And the Patriots have won their 6th Super Bowl title.
Patriots Nation, welcome to the Patriots pregame show, fueled by Duncan.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Week 1 inside Gillette Stadium for our Patriots pregame show, fueled by Duncan. Tamara Brown, Mike Dussault, Paul Perillo, and myself, Matt Smith. I've seen many a tweet this weekend. Well, we finally made it. Like, what are we supposed to have done? Like, curled up and not made it because we get to Week 1? But I guess we finally made it.
We did. We're here. It's Week 1, but it's been a crazy offseason.
Are you pumped and jacked?
I'm pumped and jacked. I am, Matt. It's a whole new start, you know, and I'm excited just to get the feel for this team for the first time. And we watched all preseason and all that, but now I feel like it's finally a chance to see the rubber meet the road and see what this team has.
And Tamara, don't you think that what we witnessed over the last month or so, it's not what we see today is not going to resemble anything. Like, we're actually going to see scripted plays and game planning and play action passes and things like that. And I'm excited to see all that stuff today.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing like them rep or walk through things or just see what everyone can do. I'm actually excited to see what the offense looks like. Can AVP call plays? Can DeMarcus Covington call plays? Are these guys actually good? So I'm excited to actually look at this team and see what they can put together in a series, because I feel like at practice we've seen a lot of 11-on-11 work, but not full scripted plays down the field.
Paul, I think when we look at the opponent today, when the schedule was released back in May, I don't know how many people, I think people looked at Cincinnati as a potential AFC Conference Champion candidate. Jamar Chase's ability to play today certainly in question. I think he's probably going to, but not a lot. T. Higgins, their other dynamic receiver. What does a lot potential loss of those two guys, or at least limit of those two guys, does it open a window for the Patriots stay in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I mean, you would think that it lowers the Bengals offense and the production that they've had. There's a lot of unknown. If you take those two guys out, there's a lot of unknowns with the passing game for Cincinnati. I think that's the biggest advantage they probably had on paper coming in. So, yeah, I definitely think it more than likely keeps the game a little bit more manageable.
From the Patriots' perspective, a lot of people have been harping on the Bengals' slow starts through the years. Don't you think the Bengals have been harping on the Bengals' slow start for the last few years, and they are very aware of that, Mike?
I think that's the better point, Matt. I think that's something for the coaching staff to actually point out to their team, but I don't think that trend, necessarily is going to carry over into this game. I mean, the lack of, potentially Higgins and Chase would be huge for the Patriots. I think that's a much bigger piece of the puzzle than just assuming, well, Joe Burrow's probably going to stink today because that's just how it goes. I think you're wishing for something that probably is going to happen. I expect him to be sharp. I expect their defense to come out and play with an edge, and the Patriots are going to have to match that energy.
Tamara, I know you have family in other parts of Ohio today. What's the weather report in Cincinnati, and can we hang our hat on anything as far as the conditions in Cincinnati today?
It's giving fall. It's giving football. It's giving the combination of both. 67 degrees, sunny, no chance of rain. If
perfect weather.
It's perfect.
Right.
If you're a football fan, it's perfect. You have no one saying like, oh, the conditions are bad. The ball is going to be slipping all over the place. So there's really going to be no excuse for ball security or anything like that. It's dry. It's clean. It's sunny.
Paul, Tamara touched on this earlier. It's our first real look at an Alex Van Pelt offense and how they script the first 15 plays. Play action pass, leaning on the running game, 2 tight ends. What are your expectations when you think about what the Patriots want to try to accomplish today offensively?
I'm just going to go off of what Gerard Mayo has said pretty much every time he's talked about the offense. They want to run the ball. And, we'll see how that transpires, because the offensive line has been in flux. I think there's some health issues there. Obviously, we know City So is already out. They elevated Michael Jordan off the practice squad. So I would think you're going to see a combination of Jordan and Nick Leverett. I don't think you elevate guys off the practice squad, Mike, if you don't plan on playing them.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a rotation. Mayo's talked about that. They want to run the ball, and they're going to need a lot of bodies up front to try to do it. I hate scripting plays because all of a sudden you lose 8 yards on first down, and what happens? You just stick with your script? Or, you get 60 yards on first down, you're just going to stick with the script. So, and I know that teams don't really do it that way. They
using that kind of.
They have a lot of if-thens.
Yes.
So if this happens, that these are our first down plays, these are our second down plays, these are our third and longs, these are our third and mediums. That's where the script, I think, comes in. So I'm being a little bit snarky intentionally. It's a new season, Mike.
For you.
It's a new
it out.
season. I gotta be me. I gotta be me. So I you know what I'm interested in offensively, more so than anything else, is how if any of the young guys fit in. Does Jalen Polk have a huge role? Is Demario Douglas I've been one. I know other people have agreed. Other people have disagreed. I think he's going to be their number one receiver. I think their leading receiver will be Demario Douglas. Does that transpire today on the field? So those are the kinds of things I'm looking at.
Yeah,
young guys.
Can I throw one more name in that mix? Is Caden Wallace? Is he going to get in rotational? I mean, we expect that Layden Robinson's going to start at right guard, but does Caden Wallace get some rotational snaps at one of the tackle spots? I think that would at least be a positive sign that, hey, we want to keep this kid, getting game action, developing him, because I still think, in a perfect world, he'd take over maybe on that right side, maybe allowing Onwenu back inside, and maybe the first chip to fall if Wallace is able to, get into the lineup this year.
So, Mike, we know So's out. Set the stage for us. Tell the fans what you think the line's going to look like left to right when they start the game.
Yeah, well, based on practices, it's been Chuks Okorafor on the left side, which was kind of where they started this summer. They've gone back to it after he went to the right side. As Paul pointed out, Michael Jordan and Nick Leverett probably rotating in at left guard. Both guys are experienced NFL players, so not rookies filling on the left side. David Andrews, of course, the stalwart in the middle, really important player today. I heard his new podcast with Brian Hoyer talking about just the experience he has with Jacoby Brissett. They both played in the old Patriots system, and now they're having a new system installed, so they can kind of relate things back to what it was. So I just think we talked about the struggles at center to find depth all summer. If David Andrews stays healthy, that doesn't matter. He's going to be able to lock that down. Right guard, we're assuming going to be rookie Layden Robinson, who came on a little bit towards the end of camp, and partly due to injuries to So, but still positive development. Rookie getting in there, and last but not least, good old Michael Onwenu on the right side at right tackle.
Do you think any chance for Vidarian Lowe?
I'd love to. And I think even if Vidarian, and he's questionable.
I think he plays.
Hurt his oblique there at the end of training camp. Haven't seen much of him. He's been ramping up his activity in practice. So I think a good sign would just be at least if he's able to rotate in on that left side with the core of 4. So maybe you do get 4 tackles.
I'd feel a lot better about it if he
time.
was starting
Agreed.
and they were rotating that way.
Me too, because I think that's what you saw from them. And Tamara, you talked about this when we were in training camp of early on. Man, it'd be great if they could just settle on a 5, and they kind of settled on a 5, but you didn't really see the progression getting better. It was, still ups and downs, and then guys started getting hurt, and they had to switch things around again. So, if they're able to get him back out there and get things in the, get him in the mix, and start to maybe get back to what they were trying to build towards this summer before those injuries.
Okay, why don't we hit the keys to the game to kick things off?
You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Here are the Patriots pregame socials, keys to the game.
Okay, Tamara, you're in the leadoff spot. Go.
Well, you guys set the table for my key to the game, which is be a fence. I need the offensive line to be a fence, protect Jacoby Brissett, and set this offense up for success. It all starts with them. We saw what happened in that third preseason game where Jacoby Brissett almost got hurt. And so I think that today they have to be a fence. They have to protect him. They have to be able to create those gaps for the running game to get going, because this offense is going to lean heavily on that, or at least I think that they will, especially with AVP and Brissett's success that they had when they were at the Browns against the Bengals. With Nick Chubb had 2 touchdowns and 101 yards on the ground. I hope that's Ramondre Stevenson today. So it all starts with the offensive line, and it could end with them if they do not play well.
Deuce?
Yeah, biggest question of the whole summer, I would say, is the offensive line. And I would just say watching, these first 2 games that it's never perfect, I feel like, early on. Even these teams that have, really well-respected offensive lines, you still have moments of breakdowns, and you just need to be careful. But no question, if they are able to come out and have a strong performance, I'm with Tamara.
Wait, one more nugget, too, on the offensive line.
Give us a nugget.
It really scared me watching that opening NFL game, seeing how many illegal formations were called against the Ravens. I was like, I really hope that's not the Patriots. So I know that Gerard Mayo said they were working on it this week, but back to my point, be a fence. A fence is a straight line. It's not jagged. It's not a roller coaster. It's a straight line. So I'm hoping there's not more than 2 illegal formations tonight.
And like a high-tech modern fence without gaps in it that people could sneak through. I got you. All right, good. For me, mine just kind of simple. Play clean. I just give yourself a chance to win. This is the start of a new era. We saw a lot of mistakes, in the last couple of years, self-inflicted wounds that, in inopportune times, things that you really didn't think would happen under the old regime of, this is a team that's not going to beat themselves. They kind of got to a point where they were beating themselves too much. So, look, I'm not going to ask for a lot today. I just think the baseline, and this is a hard thing, the first game of the season, we've seen it with these 2 games, is, just don't beat yourself. Don't have the, the third down penalties that are going to put you into 3rd and long. You've got to stay on schedule. If you can get a couple takeaways, great. I mean, that would be a huge boost. But let's just get a baseline of not killing ourselves with stupid mistakes. Penalties are going to happen. Let's just not do kind of like what Tamara said, where error repeaters. Don't make the same mistakes over and over again. And if they come out, they look well coached, they're, playing hard and playing within the rules and not getting flagged, not having tons of mistakes, I think it'll be a positive sign, a good start for the team, regardless of the result.
Paulie?
Just can I interrupt this for a quick little nugget off the Twitter?
She had a nugget. You got a nugget?
Tyreek Hill
So
arrested
funny.
before the game
For?
a driving violation or something.
You can't make this stuff up.
Dolphins. This is according to Adam Schefter. So blue check mark, Adam Schefter. I'm not getting fooled by a fake account.
Adam Schefter.
Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill was detained by police today entering the stadium for a driving violation, per his agent Drew Rosenhaus. But Rosenhaus said Hill will play.
Oh, so it's like the golf guy.
What are we doing?
It's like, what's his face?
You couldn't find him anywhere else. You had to arrest him before or detain him. Sorry.
Or was he trying to drive in
before the game?
And there's video, he's literally on the sidewalk, out of his car, it's the craziest thing.
Wait, did they arrest him for a driving violation?
It says for a driving violation. I can only go off of
Hill,
what
doesn't it have to be speeding?
I don't know. Or he was doing a Scotty Scheffler and trying to go in.
See what he did there?
Trying to go in.
I just assumed it was for child support or something like that.
That's funny.
So anyway, we'll go back. We'll get back to the keys to the game. I agree with both Tamara and Mike. I think those things are important. And mine, I think, is a little bit less vital now that T. Higgins is out. Well, doubtful.
Presumed.
And I knew Jamar Chase wasn't going to be a big part of this game because of, he hasn't done anything. If he is a big part of this game, I think it's one of the more remarkable performances by a guy who's done nothing all summer. But I think they have to get after Joe Burrow. If you want to sit back and hope that he makes mistakes, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they need to be aggressive up front, and they need to, especially now with those 2 receivers out, you should be able to handle the Trenton Irwins and the Andre Yoshivases of the world.
Don't forget Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, him too. I think he could be an important guy today for the Bengals, and he is a good receiver. I mean, contrary to what he did last year, the rest of his career he's been a productive receiver. So I think that they need to get after Joe Burrow and heat him up a little bit.
I think they're going to too. I mean, I think that's what we're seeing from DeMarcus Covington, and I think he's going to be a little bit more. I don't know. I think aggressive in a way at times that they're probably going to get burned on it a couple times, but I think the strength of this team right now for me on the defense is the secondary and the cornerbacks and the safety group. They've got to be able to hold up a little bit because I don't think that this team's going to be able to just get by rushing forward. They're going to have to scheme it up. They're going to have to send guys a lot. And, we all know a guy like Joe Burrow, very smart, going to be able to tell where that pressure might be coming from. So fake pressure, guys walking up, dropping back in. I think we're going to see a lot of that today from DeMarcus Covington.
When you mentioned Covington, do you think they target the left tackle for the Bengals?
I mean, I'd say yes, but I don't think they have a lot to target him with. I mean, specifically, at least as far as
or move that pressure
Uche,
maybe in that direction. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, Uche's questionable. He's got a foot injury. We'll see if he's able to go. O'Shane Zimenez came off the injury report this week, but he is really the only guy left that's a legitimate edge rusher. So how are they going to attack those tackles? It's going to have to be through scheme, overloading certain sides. Trent Brown over on the right side. But two guys with big size in Orlando Brown and Trent Brown. So Uche, not the biggest guy. So interesting I think Keon White up the middle, I think, is the place that they need to go, try to exploit that and make that a part of their defense this year.
So just to round out the keys to the game, I think my key is I think the Patriots are going to need some help today to win this game. I think the Bengals are going to have to be co-conspirators. And to do that, I think they're going to need to turn the ball over. I think the Patriots need to create some turnovers if they're going to win this game today. Our good friend Mike Reese always likes to use the phrase bonus points. Can they score on defense? Could they get flip the field with a turnover on special teams or something like that? I think those are the kinds of things we're going to need to see from them today that will keep things at a more level base.
I think it was one of the biggest differences between the 2022 defense and the 2023 defense.
No
which
question.
Last year didn't really get those turnovers. In 2022, they scored a bunch of touchdowns on defense and, were able to kind of be in the playoff mix there for a while. Last year, not so much. So it's just, can they get back to those turnover forcing ways?
But I feel like it all starts up front. Their ability to get pressure on the quarterback is going to force those mistakes so that the secondary can capitalize on them. So I feel like not having Judon last year to help pressure the quarterback, and obviously he's not here this year because he's in Atlanta, no Christian Barmore. I'm really concerned with their ability to get pressure on the quarterback to force those mistakes.
Yeah, especially Joe Burrow, who, is as good as anybody. I mean, the coaches talked about it this week. He's, becoming a veteran now. He's seen a lot, and you can see that experience paying off for him. I don't know if you're going to be able to get picks, to Tamara's point, by just having great coverage. It's got to come from disruption up front. You've got to confuse him a little bit, as hard as it is to do.
I watched 18 minutes of Joe Burrow the other day in his weekly media briefing, and he exudes confidence. Here's a kid who's had injury problems coming out of camp. Maybe that's helped contribute to some of their slow starts over the last couple of years. Obviously missed a tremendous portion of last year with the injury. He appears to be somebody is on a mission. Looks like somebody who's determined. He's the unquestioned leader of that team, and I think he realized that it's all business starting today. And I think he wants to make a statement. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, tough run for the Bengals right now. It's like, they got to, the Super Bowl, and it felt like they were on the rise, and it's just really been injuries that have derailed that, coming up of this team that they, I think, aspire to. And I can imagine that Joe Burrow's frustrated. He's been hurt. His guys have been hurt. It can't all seem to click back into place where you got all the right pieces in place, and, you're building back off of that, momentum that they had going to that Super Bowl. So we'll see. I no question, ton of respect for Joe Burrow. I think he's an outstanding young player, but he's got to turn in a full healthy season, and it's certainly not going to be an easy start here without his top two guys probably.
I don't know if this is a rookie mistake or not, Paul. We're approximately 17 minutes into the show, and I don't think we've really asked anybody about the Patriots starting quarterback, and that's Jacoby Brissett. How do you see what do you think's going through Jacoby's mind now? As he's the starter, he's the guy. That hasn't happened a lot in his career.
Yeah,
what do you think his mindset is as he's heading into week one?
Well, I'm sure he's excited. He hasn't really had this opportunity, just like you said. I mean, when he's been the starter heading into a season, it was because of, something happening that was unforeseen. Like the year Andrew Luck retired, I think he ended up being a starter. Like, that's not how the whole plan was supposed to go. So I'm sure he's excited about it. I think there's got to be some trepidation with the offense, just how poorly it performed all summer. I don't know how they can go into this game with a tremendous amount of confidence based on how they played. But for him personally, I'm sure it's an exciting day, and he's probably feeling that pressure of as long as I play well, I want to make this a hard decision as to when that they make the switch.
So it didn't look good in the preseason. Oftentimes, there was the personnel in and out, no real consistency or anything like that. How does he use that veteran leadership and that calming influence to say, all right, now he's got a group. These are the people who are going to start this week. The games count. How does he calm that group down and get the best out of them, Paul?
I just think they'd have to play better. It probably starts up front. I think Tamara's key about just being better up front and being sounder, both Mike and Tamara. There have just been so many mistakes, and they haven't really cleaned them up at all during the course of the summer. So I think that's part of Jacoby, what you're looking for leadership for a guy entering his 9th season who's been through some of these things, both as a starter and as a backup. You got to clean everything up. You got to do the whole cliche of not beating yourself. You can't win until you learn how to not lose. Because right now the Patriots offense is losing. They're not getting beaten, they're losing because they can't line up properly, because they can't hold the snap count, because they're missing blocking assignments, because they're not running the ball effectively. Like, just one mistake after another. And most of them are mental. So that's, I think, where you think maybe Brissett could help them. Let's just settle down, know your assignments and just play your role.
Mike,
Yeah.
is it fair to expect that after a sloppy preseason where they had a lot of those repeat offenses, that it can be cleaned up after practice and attention to detail and knowing who the group is going to be going into week one?
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to my key play clean, and I think, everything Paul said was, accurate. I would compare it not only, I would compare it to the bigger team, and this is a full restart, and I think they need positive plays. Just like every win that this team might be able to squeak out this year is going to be worth so much to reestablishing who the Patriots are, the confidence not only in the quarterback, but in, Gerard Mayo and the team itself. So I'd even go to that micro level of Jacoby Brissett by going out and orchestrating a really good first drive and taking the team down. Like, all of those positive plays, I feel like, are little elements to build off of. You're at a complete restart right now. New coaching staff, new offense, so many new pieces that every little bit of positivity that this team is able to, get this year, whether it's individual plays or getting actual wins, so important things to build off of. So hopefully he's able to start stacking some of those early, and you feel some momentum starting to build.
So trying to stack them early, there's an element of surprise here at play. Do you think that Alex Van Pelt has some trickeration in his back pocket to maybe build off of if they start moving the sticks and things like that to try to take advantage for the unexpected?
I wouldn't say so. I don't know. I'm not, and maybe we didn't really see a lot of that kind of stuff this summer anyway, but I feel like when you have a new offense, I don't know. I mean, the vibe I get is that they want to do what they do, and it's not.
Do we know what they do, though, Mike, yet?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, I think you're going to get wide zone. You're going to get play action. You're going to get bootlegs. You're going to get shots down the field. You're going to get a bunch of screens. I mean, I'd say those four elements right there, I guarantee, will be, in part of that first drive. They said they want to screen a lot. They said they want to run the ball a lot. So I think, I think that they should be more focused on getting their system and their base plays out of the way before they start trying to get cute and saying, all right, let's try this and that. I'd be surprised today if we see any major, trickeration trying to take advantage of Vic Fangio, or Lou Anarumo.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, Tamara, they are the underdogs, decidedly, going into this game. If there's an opportunity to, and it's week one, and everybody who's in the league talks about the unexpected in week one, is there an opportunity to do something unexpected that would take the Bengals by surprise?
I wouldn't hate it. If you want to put Marcus Jones out there on offense and run a trick play, by all means, go for it. Especially if you're struggling with your offensive line to get these plays that you do have planned, your identity, you can't get that going. Why not pull a trick out of your hat and put Marcus Jones or whoever out there? So
I love the idea of Marcus Jones on offense.
Yeah,
I mean,
do too.
Even if it's just what Mike said, not a trick play, just a screen.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I'd rather have
there you go.
the screen to him
There you go.
than
That's a good idea.
any other option,
I like
to
that.
be honest with you.
I like that.
And on a team that's devoid of not a tremendous amount of playmakers, this kid's one of the few that can really be special.
Yeah.
When he's got the ball in his hands, makes a lot of sense.
I just say my only question is he's been hurt a lot.
Yep.
Do you want to?
How much do you need him
as
Yes.
your only kind of slot? And we've talked about that too with cornerback depth. Like after, I mean, you really feel good about Gonzalez and Jones, and then Marcus Jones. I think so. I think we're going to give him a shot in the slot. We'll see how it goes. But after that, it's a big drop off. And I even wonder if Marcellus Dial's going to get some time today, just because they had him in the slot. I don't know if Alex Austin or Marco Wilson are really slot guys. We'll see who comes out in the inactives. But there's not a lot of answers in the defensive depth that you feel great about right now. It's a lot of unproven guys that are probably going to get thrust into minor roles today.
Yeah. My guess there, though, would be Jonathan Jones going into the slot and one of those,
Sure.
Wilson or
Yeah.
Austin
Makes
going
sense.
outside over
The boundary
Marcellus
corner.
Dial. Yes.
The boundary.
As opposed to the field corner.
Correct.
Okay, don't listen. Don't. That's a bunch of word salad. I don't need any of that.
Paul, Mike
It's not
talked
what we do here, Matt.
Mike talked about the offensive line and trying to have a clean game. Talk about, if you would, I think defensively for the Bengals, one of their strengths is their ability on the edge to get pressure.
Yeah.
From those guys, Hubbard and Hendrickson, right?
Yeah, Hendrickson's big volume. I think with 17 and a half sacks last year. So, yeah, that's a going concern. And I think if you can give, I'm a little more concerned about the interior just because of the fluctuating. You got a rookie on the right side. You got probably a rotation on the left side at guard. So I think heading into training camp,
Andrews.
heading into training camp, I think people thought, well, so Andrews and Onwenu, that's rock solid in the middle. I'm not really sure I agree with it, but Andrews absolutely rock solid. Onwenu at guard, rock solid. The rest I think are question marks. That's where you need to allow Jacoby Brissett to escape, because if there's going to be edge pressure, you need to be able to get, move up into the pocket. And I thought, the rare times where the offense looked like it was productive in the summer, I think was Drake May doing that. Shuffling around in the pocket, moving forward with his eyes downfield. If Brissett can do some of that, I think they can have some success. I think that, some people were a little critical of Jacoby holding the ball a little bit in the preseason. And I think there's some validity to that, so we'll see if there's an adjustment today.
10 years into the NFL, have the Patriots ever needed more of David Andrews than they do this year from a solidifying, keep him upright, and take care of the two guys that are next to him, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. You're relying on him. You could see it this summer with how they protected him.
Yes.
And, anytime
eye-opening, wasn't it?
Yeah, as we got down toward the end of the summer, it was, a couple reps to Andrews, all right, and part of that is that they really need to find some center depth. I think that's been a struggle. We saw the Eagles struggling with their snaps the other night. That was, they were able to overcome that. But he's captain. He's, one of the most established leaders on this team. So no question, he's a big piece of today. And hopefully they can get that run game going. I think that's just a big key. If they're able to have some success on the ground early, I think it's really going to inspire confidence in them and open up the rest of their offense.
Playing in Cincinnati, it's not Denver. It's not Kansas City.
The jungle.
Not Pittsburgh. It's the jungle, and maybe a little nouveau riche with the Bengals fans as they have enjoyed some success. But I don't know if it's a daunting place to go into, Tamara. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I would agree. But I feel like it's also week one. Burrow is healthy and playing week one. There might be a revitalized energy in the stadium just because everyone thinks it's NFL Christmas morning right now. And your quarterback's healthy. So I could see it potentially being a little bit louder than usual.
How do they handle that? Are they equipped to handle that, Paul?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I think you're right. There are a couple of, Seattle would be another one. There are a couple of places I think you have to do something special indoors. Obviously, I don't think you have anything you have to really worry about here out of the ordinary. You got to have, your communication. You need to be sound. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, this all goes to the same stuff that we've been talking about. They need to be better before plays are even taking place than they have been so far. And that's part of it. Your communication on the road and, in a hostile environment, that's part of it. You got to be on the same. You can't have the delay of games. You can't have the personnel problems where you're not, have the right personnel on the field, not enough personnel on the field at times, too many. That kind of stuff needs to be. This, a lot of guys in their first time really doing what they're doing today for the Patriots, and the Patriots
meaning
coaching
Covington
staff.
And Van Pelt.
Gerard Mayo.
And Gerard Mayo, correct, of course.
With Covington, Van Pelt, guys that really haven't really been through this kind of stuff. It's gonna be a test.
I tell you what, Covington exudes confidence, doesn't he? After listening to him the other day, he seems like he's ready.
A little
for the
too
task.
much for my liking, to be honest.
Okay, well,
I told Mike afterwards. I was like, you might want to tone that one down a little bit.
He seems ready.
Yeah.
And eager for the challenge.
He does. I thought it was interesting that he said he, would sit and watch games at home and pretend to call the game as he's sitting there watching it. I would have never thought to do that to get practice as, a defensive coordinator. So I thought that was interesting. And just even trying it at practice, just pretending to script things as things happen at practice, I thought was interesting too. So we'll see how it translates onto the field, but I thought it was cool to kind of get some insight on how he's preparing for week one.
Mike, we're about 17 minutes till the inactives come out. Who are you keeping your eye on that you think are important decisions, whether they're a go or not a go for the Patriots today?
Well, of course, Jabril Peppers.
I knew he was going to say that.
Got to start with him. When my guy popped up yesterday, it's unfortunate. I did see some reports he went through an early workout and was smiles at the end of it. Take
Fist
from that,
bumps.
Take from that what you will. I think he's definitely important. He's a tone setter, but I'm going to guess he's going to play. I think Uche, though, to me, is one of the more interesting pieces just because of the lack of overall pass rush on the team. And, I think Zimenez was pretty active, I would say, Paul, this summer. We always talked about he was just one of those guys going 110% all through training camp, which, is fine. And you like to see that out of a guy. But is that going to translate now when you got to get around Trent Brown? We'll see how he does. I've said it a lot. My concern for the pass rush off the edge and the thought of, Joe Burrow just kind of sitting back there being like, I'm just going to wait till this Yoshivas guy gets open and, finally he breaks away from, Jonathan Jones or whatever downfield. And that's my nightmare scenario today is that just Joe Burrow has way too much time in the pocket. And even with the scheming that we anticipate DeMarcus Covington's going to do, that it won't be able to consistently get the pressure there. Maybe on third down, but I just look at first and second down as times for the Bengals to throw the ball and to take advantage of the Patriots when they're in their heavy set. They don't have Keon White coming as an interior rusher. You've got Godchaw and Aquale, who are going to probably two-gap initially. So those early down passing plays, I think, are the biggest concern to me.
Longtime Bengal followers will note that there's no longer Joe Mixon in the backfield, who has been a staple for them and a really good football player for them. A little bit of an unknown with Zach Moss, a veteran guy, everything like that. I mean, probably going to speak to your point that nobody cares about the running game anymore.
No, well, not that blatantly, but yeah, kind of. But I'm a little more concerned about Chase Brown. I think the reason why they wanted to move on from Mixon is they felt like he had sort of slowed down. Now, he's a really good back. And I know that Bill used to lay it on a little bit when Belichick was remember, he called Joe Mixon the best back in football. Remember a couple of years ago? I don't believe he was ever even in that conversation as being the best back in football, but that doesn't mean he's not really, really good. He's a 1,000-yard rusher, a very accomplished receiver, so they'll miss a lot. They felt like they lacked explosiveness with Mixon, and they think they get some of that. And I think that where they're going to get it, if they are, is Chase Brown, not as much with Zach Moss. So there's a guy that I think, if they could get him in space, might be able to make a play or two, but largely unproven. They haven't done it because Mixon's been their bell cow for, the entirety of the Burrow era anyway.
So what better way, Tamara, but what better way to maybe introduce our next segment as we go behind enemy lines?
You know the view from New England, but what about the view from the other side?
And that's why you're our favorite pregame show guest every year.
You guys know you tell everybody that.
Oh, yeah!
I was on with you guys in 2018, Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
And I was told I was the favorite guest of the show.
Nope.
No.
Time now to go behind enemy lines.
My God, it's coming right for us!
And joining us now from Cincinnati is longtime Bengal reporter Jeff Hobson. Jeff, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To get him off the phone line. There you go.
There's another rookie mistake. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this.
He's up.
Yeah,
Jeff?
I know. Hold on.
He's up, Matt.
Oh, he is? Okay. Good morning, Jeff. Thanks for joining us. How are things looking today in Cincinnati? Give us a little scene setter, if you would, please, sir, and thanks for joining us.
Sounds like nothing's changed with New England Bell. That sounds like I'm trying to get through to everybody in Framingham. I'm good. What's going on there? What's this thing about the running game? I thought the Patriots are coming in here with this running game against the Bengals defense that didn't stop it very well last year. So we care about the running game today because that's what they feel like they got to start. They got to go out there and stop it. This defense has a lot to prove. So they've been talking a lot about the Patriots running game.
Jeff, just right off the top, I mean, we've all heard that, Jamar Chase, we know what's been going on with him, couple practices, all of a sudden T. Higgins pops up, he's doubtful. What do you kind of anticipate is going to happen today with the Bengals receiving corps?
That's a good question. This I know, that they feel like this is the deepest and most versatile offense they've had under Joe Burrow, and I guess we'll find out right away, won't we? You guys talked about it, the pack by committee, Zach Moss and Chase Brown, and I think that's a product more of the system and pay than anything else because Mixon's a really good player. But I think Moss and Brown fit the shotgun style, the kind of style they've been playing with under Burrow. I think they're probably better pass protectors. I think they're probably better pass catchers. And I guess we'll find out today, pending the receiver situation. But I know Gesicki was, in there for a year last year and he's back out, but these guys like Gesicki. He's a versatile. They feel like he can give Burrow another weapon outside, inside. Burrow's never had a tight end like that that's got 350 catch seasons. So I guess we'll find out. Looking at what the receiver room is like. They'll be using a lot of backs and tight ends today.
We think this game is going to be a big one, especially in the trenches. What's your confidence in the Bengals' offensive line, especially with Trent Brown, the new addition at left tackle?
Well, we think Trent Brown's pretty good, okay? This is the fifth different starting tackle under Burrow. And ever since Aaron Donald threw Burrow to the turf in the Super Bowl, all they've done is spend money and draft on the offensive line. And I think what they've got right now is the best line they've had since the Andrew Whitworth days when they were, winning the division and going to the playoffs 7 years in a row, 5 years in a row. And I think they feel like this line is the best they've had, certainly under Burrow. So I think that they feel like they're in a good place there. It's all these guys have played together, except for Trent, but he's playing in his 101st NFL game. He's proven. I mean, I know you guys get your opinion about him, but the numbers say he's probably the best pass protector Burrow's had on that side of it. So I think they're grooming a guy, and Trent is helping them groom a guy that probably won't play today. In fact, that is out today, but the first rounder, Amarius Mims. So I think they feel like Brown is eventually that's going to be a pretty good transition there at some point. But it works out today. Mims is hurt, so they got the veteran hopping in there, which is going to be big.
Jeff, one guy you didn't mention, and he's anchoring that line for you and has really grown as a player. Patriot fans are quite familiar with, and that's Ted Karras. How important is he to the success of that line?
Oh, he's huge. I remember talking to Scarnecchia when we got Karras, and he said the big thing about Teddy is he will keep the integrity of the pocket. And that's exactly what he's done here. When we got Teddy, there was no integrity to the pocket. It was, I just mentioned the Donald sack in the Super Bowl. They needed to shore up the middle. Teddy was a huge part of that. You guys know Teddy. Smart guy, solid, and it's the integrity of the pocket. He's got it. Plus, he's been a tremendous guy in Cincinnati. He could be the mayor of Cincinnati tomorrow, and he's, he's a captain again. He's been huge on and off the field.
Jeff, you mentioned the Bengals' inability to stop the run last year. On paper, Sheldon Rankins comes in up front, DJ Reader out. Where do you see that situation for Cincinnati? Has it improved? Is it the same? Because you are correct. The Patriots will be running the ball today.
Well, you probably don't want to hear this name either, Von Bell. He's the only reason the Bengals won that Christmas Eve game 2 years ago when he got Stevenson to fumble inside the 5. And he's back, and that's huge because the entire defense is better because of him. Now, up front they're thin, okay? Chris Jenkins is out. He's their rookie second rounder. They thought he was going to, he's going to be playing a lot. Not today. So but they've got two of the better linebackers. They got two of the better linebackers in the league, and Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt. Hubbard and Hendrickson coming off the edge as good as it gets. But will they be able to stop? Rankins is a proven guy. B.J. Hill's a proven guy. They're going to have to get some reps now from Zach Carter and Jay Caselli, a guy that hasn't played much. So they're going to have to string it together. But they've been emphasizing it all off season, and I think they feel like at least they think like their tackling and their fits are going to be better.
Jeff, just one more from me. Got to ask you specifically about Joe Burrow. What have you seen from him this summer, aside from the new hairdo? How has he been playing? And do you feel like there's any of these other receivers, Yoshivas, Charlie Jones, that he'll be looking to step up in the absence of Higgins and perhaps a limited Chase?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to look at number 80, Andre Yoshivas from Princeton, who's very good camp, huge camp, runs a 4.3. He's a guy to watch today. I think Gesicki, the tight end. I mean, Tanner Hudson, another tight end. These are guys that Burrow has a good connection with. I think, Burrow has looked. I mean, this is uncharted territory, as he was telling me last week. He's never gone through an entire training camp. He never played in a preseason game where he had a whole drive. He did that, seems like about 8 years ago now, but he did that in the preseason opener. One drive, they scored a touchdown. He's never done that before, either because of COVID or a rehab or an injury or an appendectomy, you name it. So he's had none of that. He's got all these reps under his belt. So I would think that this is the best we're going to see him in September than he's ever played, just because of the reps.
Great stuff there, Jeff. Thank you so much for your expertise and analysis. Happy week 1. Thanks for joining us.
Jeff, before we let you go, can you give us a quick prediction today?
I got, it's always tight when you come in with the Pats. I don't want to inflame the great Smokey Marazzi, the coach, the Hall of Fame coach. I don't want to endorse the great Patriots fans there, but I would say Burrow's got all these reps. Gerard Mayo, who I think is going to be a very good coach in this league. He's making his debut. He's going against the staff that's got 6 years in. So I think it's a grinder because I think Mayo's team, I think right away they'll show they'll play tough and won't go away. Jacoby Brissett won't go away. So I'm going to say 27-20 Bengals.
Okay. All right. Great. Jeff, thank you very much. Enjoy the game.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Little breaking news here. Dak Prescott is now the highest paid player in NFL history with a 4-year, $240 million extension per Adam Schefter.
I don't know what you're going to do with the cap. I don't know.
Deadlines spur actions, huh? Wow.
Do you think they wait for this particular moment, though, to announce it? Like the morning, they know all the shows, everyone's up and excited, and this is now
Got Jerry written all
the
over
crown
it.
jewel
Yep.
of the discussion?
Yeah, it's dumb because they cost themselves a lot of money with CeeDee Lamb and now Dak Prescott, and they will cost themselves more money when they eventually do Micah Parsons too. Because if you do it when everybody else does it, you can save money. If you want to wait, as they say, yesterday's price is no longer today's price.
Right. I want to get back to one thing that Jeff Hobson was talking about. We mentioned it briefly here, but why do I get the feeling, Tamara, that Mike Gesicki, who came here with high hopes last year, and this guy was going to be an integral part of the offense, and he wasn't, and he's going to help move the chains for Cincinnati today. That's a gnawing feeling inside of me that I think we're going to see that today.
Now, I don't think it's going to be like a Saquon Barkley situation where he comes out with a hat trick for the Eagles, but I do think Gesicki is going to have a great game today. He wasn't able to be used properly with the Patriots last season, but this year, especially with those two guys limited, I think it's going to be a big day for him.
Yeah, Mike, do you see him being, especially with the status of Chase and Higgins, he seems to me to be, I can see him being Burrow's go-to guy as far as targets today.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to take him away. I mean, I don't think he's that good. I mean, and if you have these safeties...
Who's taking him away?
The safety group. I mean, that's who has to do it.
I don't like that matchup, to your point. I hear the trepidation in your voice. I agree with you.
Yeah, because I don't...
You guys are scared of Mike Gesicki?
No, I'm not. I don't know.
I don't think they have anybody that covers in safeties.
I
think they have a lot of safeties that will knock you to tomorrow.
Yes.
Rock.
Well,
but I don't think they have a lot of cover safeties.
Well, Jabril Peppers was pretty good in covers last year, according to PFF. But so I don't know. I mean, look, you're gonna make these guys the center of your defense. I expect that they should cover him. I don't really. Yeah. I don't expect confidence in their coverage, but I just don't think Mike Gesicki.
I agree with that part of what Mike is saying. Gesicki has always been a good player.
For you.
He's always been a good player. He's never been an impact player, in my opinion.
Okay, we'll pick that up on the other side. Need to take a break at this time. You're listening to the Patriots pregame show fueled by Dunkin', and it's also brought to you by easy to drink, easy to enjoy Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots.
Without good blocking, your team's not going anywhere. Cisco blocks cyber attacks for customers around the world, including the entire Fortune 100 and the NFL. Because when the game is on the line, and it's always on the line, the NFL relies on Cisco.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex, this contours to it. So the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
Without good blocking, your team's not going anywhere. Cisco blocks cyber attacks for customers around the world, including the entire Fortune 100 and the NFL. Because when the game is on the line, and it's always on the line, the NFL relies on Cisco.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex, this contours to it. So the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
You've got to watch your NFL. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You've got got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns to turnovers and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Nice! Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns to turnovers and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Nice! Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PAT-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com. Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Matt Smith.
Bridgestone is the official tire of the New England Patriots, and they're proud to partner with Sullivan Tire, New England's headquarters for quality Bridgestone tires. Visit sullivantire.com to find a location near you. Welcome back to our Patriots pregame show, fueled by Duncan, inside Gillette Stadium. As you rejoin, and Matt Morrell just said, you can reach us at 855-PATS-500 or webradio@patriots.com. Let's check the email machine.
Just real quick, Matt, just to let you know, the Bengals have let their inactives out. T. Higgins is inactive. Jamar Chase is active.
Okay, and give me the little nugget on Jamar Chase at what NFL Network is saying as far as snaps for Jamar.
Yeah, it's not, limited. So I don't know. I always speculated. He popped up with an illness yesterday too, on top of everything. So 3 days of practice for Jamar Chase. He's fighting some kind of illness.
Sick of his contract.
Sick of asking for new money. But yeah, I would say third downs, gotta have it moments. You don't need to rush him out there first, second down, run the ball. So that's what I would expect, and it probably plays well into the Patriots' hands of, if they do want to stick Christian Gonzalez on him, that he's going to probably be easy to find. He won't be out there every down.
And you already have T. Higgins that's dealing with a hamstring injury. I feel like if you thrust Jamar Chase out there and he plays too many reps, you could end up with two wide receivers with really serious injuries. So I think that you should just play it lightly, especially it's week one against the Patriots team that even their roster is still more stacked, even without them.
Michael, I'll let you. You're monitoring the Twitter machine, so when the Patriots inactives hit,
I will raise a finger.
Great,
like this.
but
I'll say
great.
So
but go ahead.
I wanted to go back to running backs because we were talking about this earlier. I think Antonio Gibson, that's going to be a good one to keep an eye on when those inactives
for the
come
inactives,
out.
Yes.
Because I don't want Ramondre Stevenson, even though Ramondre is great, I don't want him to carry the load of this entire offense that wants to run the ball. I know they're still hasty, but I think when I look at it, I look at Ramondre Stevenson, then Gibson, then hasty, in my opinion. So if Ramondre Stevenson doesn't have to carry this load completely by himself, that would be amazing.
I'm going to take a little umbrage with what you're saying there, and I don't want to see him. It's not 30 carries.
Yes.
But I think we're at a point in time in Ramondre Stevenson's career. They paid him this offseason. I think it's time for Ramondre Stevenson to be the bellwether back, okay? I think for this team to be successful, it's 20 to 25 touches for Ramondre Stevenson. Yes, spell him. Of course, don't wear him out. But if this is your guy, I want to see him be your guy.
That's true.
Yeah, I would say hasty too. I think will be in the mix, especially with the amount of screens that I think they want to run. If Gibson, he was working out earlier. We'll see here in a second if he goes. I think he's going to go, but probably still a little bit limited. That I think Hasty could still be that kind of change of pace back. So I don't do the fantasy of it all, but
I like Hasty.
What I saw him.
His wiggle and speed, like he can especially I saw when the offensive line was struggling, he was still able to slide through and make some plays. So
small, shifty, a little bit of a change up. So
Gerard Mayo on All Access this week was talking about the rooms that he liked on his team, and of course he mentioned the secondary and specifically the safeties, but he was also very quick to mention the running back room, which I don't know that people that would pop up and say, oh, what room do you like? He likes the running backs, and I think he likes all three of those guys, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, it is, especially because those guys really don't say much. Like, Ramondre talks, but he's very, like, quiet and reserved.
Right.
Not so much like the secondaries who are very loud. They have personality.
Except Gonzalez.
Right. Okay. Webradio at Patriots.com is our email. Nathan in Tampa here wants to know, the season isn't about wins. I just want to see some development from any of the younger players. I think Polk is a gamer and will show up more. Thoughts on what you'd want to see from the rookies?
From the rookie specific, I mean, Polk continued doing what he's been doing all camp, which is just being consistent, getting out there, catching most of the balls that are thrown his way, strong hands. I don't even think we saw some of what I saw out of him in Washington, which made him so exciting, which is the acrobatic downfield catches. He actually missed a couple of those opportunities in training camp that I was a little surprised about, but he's that kind of guy that's willing to lay out for the pass. I think he's the kind of receiver you need on your roster. I think we get so caught up in number ones and twos and X's, and, you know, the kid can play football, and that's just what you like. And, you know, you bring up the blocking, and some people snicker about that, but I just think he's a well-rounded piece. And when you look at him in comparison to Demario Douglas, who's, you know, little quick guy inside who's going to get open, I think you need those kind of tough guys on the outside. Now, that doesn't make up for maybe a lack of speed and explosiveness that you're hoping Tyquan Thornton suddenly delivers this year, but I'd love to see just another consistent performance out of Polk.
So on that same topic of wide receivers, apparently Patriots wide receivers are warming up, and they're all spotted except for Javon Baker.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I would say he's a good chance to be. Although maybe I don't know what you're getting at. I'll let you get at what you're going to get at, and then I'll respond.
Well, I wanted to just follow up something on Polk specifically.
Sure.
We're talking snap pitch count
Yeah.
with a guy like Jamar Chase. What's your expectation for Polk as far as snaps today? Is he fully integrated?
Yeah.
Or do they just sort of ease him in? How do you see them trying to handle him today from a participation standpoint?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot. I mean, I would say there were points at the end of camp where it was kind of him as the Z out in the, on the outside. Tyquan Thornton on line of scrimmage, X outside, run down the field, stretch the field a little bit. But I think it'll be probably a pretty good rotation between Polk, Osborne, maybe for one spot. I think you'll see a lot of Thornton out there. Of course, Douglas. And then Booty, I think, mixed in here and there. But I think the guys that are going to be really doing the heavy lifting today are going to be the Polk, the Osborne, the Thornton, and the Douglas of the world. And I think Booty will get a little bit of time. But I'd say those top four are going to get plenty of run.
If they go three wide out of the chute, who's the first three in the field?
Probably Osborne. I'll give him the veteran nod, but I think Polk was nipping at his heels with his consistency. And I think before the season's up, you'd love to see Polk out there as almost an every down kind of a back. Did I hit all the rookies, though? I'm trying to think if there's any other rookies that, today we're really expecting anything out of. I mean, Layden Robinson, of course, at right guard.
I want to see Caden Wallace.
Yeah, that's just a rotation. I don't think we'll see a ton of him, but I think
he's going to play.
Getting him some experience, getting him rotated in. We'll see Vidarian Lowe here in a minute if he's able to go. Jaheim Bell, I don't know. Tough. I would be surprised. Unless Hunter Henry's banged up, I don't think you'll see a ton of Jaheim Bell. Maybe a candidate to be a healthy scratch. Not sure yet, but we'll know here momentarily what happens.
Going back to Javon Baker, too much talking for me off the field. Too much drama off the field that I don't know how you would put him on the field right now. And I feel like he's lucky that Bill Belichick is not the head coach right now, because I don't know how that would be handled, but I would imagine that he would be disciplined in a way that would be very outward facing.
It's just unfortunate because I think, we had from the second he got drafted, and he had the comment about making people in wheelchairs stand up, and you hope that that's not going to be, what you're getting with him. And even at that point, it felt like this guy fills boom or bust. We got into OTAs and mini camp, and you saw a couple catches downfield, and people really started to get excited, I think. And then as camp wore on, you saw more drops, more inconsistency. You got in the games, you saw more, hey, he can get Finn Phil. Off the field, you're seeing immaturity as well. So I think Javon Baker's got a ways to go. He's probably going to be humbled a little bit here as he doesn't play, if he even does dress today. So for him, he's kind of going to be like Drake May, working behind the scenes, developing. He's a talented kid, but I think he's got a long way to go in comparison to a kid like Polk, who just keeps his mouth shut and was productive day in, day out. Game, practice didn't matter.
And let's not forget who his mentor is as far as his position coach is concerned. I think that connection between Coach Hughes and Polk is very, very strong, and I think will really be helpful to him as he sees the field.
Well, just real quick, I mean, I wrote a profile. I talked to Coach Hughes about Polk after he was drafted, and even going back to his high school days, a kid who's focused, who's serious, who has the right priorities, went back to his high school after he was drafted immediately before he even came to New England to talk to some of the kids back there and spread a message of what it took for him to get to this level to be selected in the second round by the Patriots. So I'm excited about Polk. I think he's going to be one of those fan favorites, one of those ones where in a gotta have it kind of moment, which was what Jacoby Myers was. Which actually, too, I might use this opportunity if it's okay, because we talk a lot about him and Jacoby Myers. He's Jacoby Myers.
Yes.
He's Jacoby Myers.
I keep saying that.
So he's the same size as Jacoby Myers, but he also jumped a foot farther than Jacoby Myers when it came to the broad jump. More athletic. And talk about long speed. Not the fastest guy. One of the knocks on him, I think he's a 4.5 guy. But in the first 10 yards, he's one of the top 25% of the league. So in terms of short quickness, he's got that. He's a different athletic specimen than Jacoby Myers was. So a lot more athletic, a lot more explosive, has some wiggle to him. Nothing against Jacoby Myers, who is an excellent NFL receiver. I'm sad that he's not here anymore. But I just think that the comparison is, yes, they are the exact same physical size.
But you see more of an upside.
I see more in an upside and potentially in Polk.
And I feel like having the Jacoby Myers, Jalen Polks of the world are important. You saw what happened when we didn't have that Jacoby Myers, that gotta-have-it guy. And so if Polk can become that for Drake May, after Jacoby Brissett is done playing, I think that could be really valuable to him to have that, I don't want to say binky, but guy that is always going to be there.
And you might even have, too, Tamara, with Pop Douglas, too, who is kind of the more traditional, all right, it's 3rd and 4. We need somebody who's going to shake somebody and get open quick, and he can get the ball out.
A yak guy, too. Yeah, he's your yak guy.
So that's why I like the complementary nature of those two guys. Now, that said, I think watching some of the games over the past couple of days where it's like speed upon speed upon speed across the offense, and then that is certainly appealing. They need that element. And I'm, just hopeful to see Tyquan get out there and see what it looks like in this offense.
I need him to look like Xavier Worthy did, because I was like, am I watching Dash from The Incredibles? Like, what am I looking at? It was crazy,
right. and it translated so quick, right? Yeah. It was like, we blew. A lot of times these guys, they're 4.2 guys at the combine, and with Tyquan, he's a 4.2 guy or 4.3 guy, but you haven't really seen it translate that much. And I think we saw bits and pieces of it during camp where he was getting downfield a little bit. But I think the big thing for him, it's one thing to get open and get beyond the coverage. It's another when it's a tight contested catch, when there's a small window, you got to have strong hands. Those are the kind of moments I like Polk. That's where I think Thornton needs to grow, those moments, tough contested catches.
I don't want to spend a lot of time here on Worthy, but I talked to Paul off the air after that game on Thursday night, and it's infuriating to me that the Bills, who I think would look at Kansas City as their primary competition in the AFC, they're going to let them get the receiver that they wanted at that position. I think that's a move that could really come back and bite.
Especially after giving Diggs away. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Paul?
Did we talk about the inactives?
They just came right now.
So I'm just going to read them out.
Drum roll, please, Paul.
Joe Milton is the emergency third quarterback. Javon Baker, Trey Jacobs, Zach Thomas, Curtis Jacobs, Sidney So, and Eric Johnson. So the four waiver wire claims. Yeah. Sidney So was already inactive, and Javon Baker would be the healthy scratch.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, not really a lot of surprises. Yep. But Jaheim Bell, active. We'll see. I feel like he's going to be more special teams. But again, any of these rookies today, if they're able to get out there and start stacking experience, I mean, that's what this is about. I know everyone's waiting for Drake May to get in, but it's about these other rookies too. So, how does Layden Robinson look? Does he start to stack some experience there inside? Does Marcellus Dial get some time?
And your guy Jabril is playing.
Yeah, good news. We'll
no
see.
Surprise there.
Probably going to manage him a little bit, I'd guess. But
webradio, Patriots.com. This comes in from Travis in West Virginia. Hello, friends. Remind me again why everyone feels pretty good about the Patriots D. I don't have high expectations, and then he's going to take a shot at you, Tamara. Also, Tamara predicting the Mike Gesicki will have a big game might be the worst football take I've ever heard.
What?
I disagree with you, Travis. I don't think you're paying attention. I like the take, Tamara.
Now,
but back to the defense that Travis is asking about. That seems a little negative there. Yes or no?
I'm stuck on the Gesicki thing. If Jamar Chase and T. Higgins were both healthy and not dealing with anything at all and were ready to go, absolutely, we wouldn't even see Gesicki probably for a second. Maybe he might have 5 catches. Cool. But today, with Chase being limited and T. Higgins being out, I think Gesicki is primed to play a lot today.
I just say, Matt, I'm a defense guy, and I'm generally a positive guy, and I feel like I'm probably more concerned than the general sentiment of people who I think, look, the focus this year has been on the offense, and people are obsessed with that, and rightly so. That's how they're going to win or lose games, but I just look at the pass rush, and look, I'm not trying to say that I don't like Keon White as a player. I just see people predicting him to be like the Patriots Defensive Player of the Year, and that would be amazing.
But he hasn't demonstrated it yet.
I see him as an interior rusher right now, and I see him as that's where he's able to move my needle a little bit.
Right.
Maybe replacing some of what Barmore did, but Anthony Jennings, Keon White, Josh Uche, O'Shane Zimenez. I mean, this is who you're going to rely on to lead the way up front, and not to mention that the depth. I like Devon Godchaux, but now we're putting Daniel Akwale, who's kind of been a journeyman and a fill-in guy. He's now your number 2 inside defensive tackle. Oh, and he's backed up by Jeremiah Farms, who's a nice story, but has basically been a practice squad guy for 3 years. And we called up Tristan Hill from the practice squad to be the 4th interior guy. So I just have some concerns. I said last point on this was just, look, you lost Barmore and you lost Lawrence Guy from last year.
Right.
There aren't really
losses.
Real replacements for those guys right now.
Right. This is Dexter from Santa Rosa, California, who says, it's time for the Mayo reign to be taken seriously by the league, and I want wins. To me, I would rather look at 5-3 and insert May with a chance at a playoff berth than 2-6, and let's just hope to get experience now and not get hurt. Go Patriots.
Who would disagree with that?
Yeah.
No, I'm just
the email.
Hearing from the public.
To me, I would rather be 5-3 and then turn it over to May than 2-6 and turn it over.
I mean, I guess
is there a Patriots fan that would rather be 2-6
is that
than
something
5-3?
Tanking? Is that what the point was trying to be, that he doesn't want to tank or something? I don't know.
Right, but like the anti-tanking would be is I would rather be 3-5 than 2-6.
Right.
Like I don't know anybody that wouldn't rather be in the playoff hunt than not.
Yeah, I'll go back to the point I made earlier, and this is something I'll probably harp on. It's just every win is just so important to this franchise right now, to getting back on track and
confidence,
to changing the narrative, and to getting off of this.
So you guys are with Mike Felger.
Everyone killing them. What?
That's a Felgerism.
Well, I mean,
what you guys just said. Confidence, culture.
Yeah, but I'm not getting into like I wouldn't have traded Matthew Judon for a 3rd-round pick. Want to win games,
but that's why he.
We'll get him.
But that's why he didn't like the trade, because he thinks that Matt Judon could help him win games, and he thinks that's important.
Yeah, I know. My only point about confidence, they need those wins to, it's to justify the program. It's to justify what you're doing.
Yes.
They need to see good results in order for that to happen, and they need to stack those up. 855-PATS-500 is our number here, and Floyd has been waiting patiently. Floyd, you're next on the Patriots pregame show. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I have 2 questions. Question number 1 is, I saw a report today. May like me to sit for several weeks behind Brissett. So my question number 1 is, what is your definition of several? Is it like 3 to 5 weeks? Question number 2, and this is specifically aimed at Christian Barmore's situation. Can an NFL team give a player a physical before giving them a contract, or is that something the NFLPA would have a problem with? Thank you for taking my call.
No, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel. Like, to me, several is anything 3 or more.
I think it's usually around 7.
A couple is 2. Several is 3 and
I'd say, like, by definition, I think
somewhere between 6 and 9.
I think several is like 5 to 7.
But not 8?
No. That's getting to be a lot.
I think once you get beyond a couple, we're into several.
Yeah.
What about a few?
A few.
I feel like a couple.
Absolutely.
2,
then a handful.
At
least 3.
Is like
handful.
3 or 4.
Don't rush to several.
Beautiful.
I want to touch on this one, and I don't.
Then nearly a dozen.
I think every medical situation is obviously much different. Did anybody have an eyebrow raised when they saw the University of Cincinnati kid get cleared, who had blood clots, diagnosed with blood clots in July? He was just cleared by the University of Cincinnati to resume playing football. I looked at that and read it, and I said, I wonder if this has any correlation to Barmore's situation.
Well, I think we tackled that on PU this week, and every situation is different. We had someone write in who said, in certain situations where it was brought on by something specific, that you can fix that and it's okay. Whereas if it's something that's chronic, then it's a lot more complicated deal. So it was, as it was explained to us, there's a wide array of blood clots. As we always talk about, he's out with blood clots.
Parentheses.
Blood clots. So it's just hard. It's hard to know. I think every situation is unique, and Christian Barmore's got to walk his own path.
And I'm not familiar with the Cincinnati thing, and I'm also not familiar with the report that Floyd is. I guess I missed a lot this weekend. You guys are going to have to catch me up. The report that indicated that Floyd's talking about that May's going to be out.
It was this morning.
I think
on
it
Twitter.
was this morning.
Yeah, it was this morning on Twitter.
I don't know what it means. These I don't.
But can I ask who reported it? Because as you know, Mike,
Rappaport.
Okay.
I think it was Ian Rappaport.
Okay, that's good enough.
Is that how
that's
you
good
say
enough
it?
for me.
I do believe.
So the Patriots aren't playing him for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's
thoughts.
I think the report also had they want to get.
That doesn't surprise me in the least. It seems like a fake report.
The report also had that they wanted to get the offensive line situated first.
That makes me feel even worse.
Yeah.
So this has nothing to do with May, is what they're telling me. So May can do anything, and it's not going to change because this is the plan. This is not what I'm looking to hear.
I think let's get back to what you said. What is your definition of a few?
Okay, wait. Let me read the quote. From my understanding, that means they're going to make sure the offensive line is good enough to put him out there. The skill position group, it's all set for May to come in and right away have success. Probably going to be several weeks at least.
Does that dovetail from anything that you thought going in before this happened? You thought he might play next week against Seattle?
I thought this was up to Drake May.
Okay.
I did.
Did you?
I did.
You thought all summer he was never going to play, though.
I thought when the training camp started, based on what I saw, he didn't look close. Based on the way training camp finished, I think he looked more than close. I thought this was about Drake May's development. They were going to put him in when they felt like he was ready to go. Sounds like that's not what's going to happen. Sounds like they need to have the offensive line situation. They need to have skill position guys around, and that doesn't sound like it has much to do with Drake May. Like what I guess I fell for the banana in the tailpipe. I fell for the competition and all that other stuff.
That's surprising.
It never feels like it's ever going to be all
fall for the banana
perfect.
in the tailpipe.
And so it's just hard to know.
That's why I don't think he's going to play.
Right. And
it's never going to be what they say.
And
that's their out.
Wait for the weapon. I don't know what Tamara said exactly. Like wait for the weapons to be like. I mean, they are what they are. They're here.
No, I think they said they're okay with the weapons.
No.
But they were waiting for the offensive line, which is not going to rectify itself. Right? They're not trading for Trent Williams. They're not. It's not just going to magically get fixed.
No, I think they
might coach him up.
I think
Paul.
they're
I think
hoping. They're hoping that this is the new system, and when everybody learns the strike system properly, that we're all going to be on the same page, and it's going to start to solidify itself and look better.
I just hope he plays.
I think it's time now for.
I now have fear that he won't.
Oh, I think he will. Matt, let's go to over-unders, please.
It's time for this week's edition of Over-Unders.
Okay. It looks like everybody's got a winning record, so let's get right to it. Jacoby Brissett passing yards. How do you get this number, Matt? 206.5.
It would be DraftKings is where I get these numbers from.
Okay, that's great. Love it.
Our sponsor of the pre- and post-game show.
Okay, that's an interesting number. Okay, over or under on 206.5, Mike?
All right, I'm hey, it's the week one. Let's go positive. I'm going over.
As you know, Mike, I can often have an argument with you about pretty much anything, and I could argue with you that it would be a negative if it goes over that, because that means they're not running the ball the way we want to. But I am going to also share Mike's optimism and say over.
Wish I could share your optimism. I'm going under on passing yards. On the other side, Joe Burrow's passing yards. 252 and a hay. 252 and a hay, Mike.
I think we're going to rotate.
Yeah,
I'll go first.
Oh, I apologize. Did I miss that in the pre-show meeting?
I am going to take the under on that. I just don't have a lot of belief in who Burrow's going to be throwing to.
Michael? Oh, is it me next? Oh, sorry. I'm going under on Joe Burrow.
Finger waxed by Mike Dussault.
I'm under on Joe Burrow passing yards. I think we're looking at a little bit of a non-weather tractor pull today.
God, I don't want to be the only one to say over, but I think Joe Burrow's really good. I've got some concerns about the Patriots pass rush. I think he could be over this and still not, go crazy with the receivers that he has. So I'm actually going to go over.
Okay. Next up, Ramondre Stevenson rushing yards at 49 and a hay. I'm going over on that. How about that?
Yeah, I'm going to go over on that too. I think it's a big part of this offense. Come hell or high water, they're going to try to figure out a way to get him over 50 yards.
I'm just looking at the whole slate here. This is the toughest one for me. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to take the over.
Gibson's
That way I can't lose a game.
Gibson's a little banged up. He's probably going to get a lot of opportunities at least.
I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. I just don't have much faith.
Okay. Next, Demario Douglas receiving yards, and I apologize, I'm not paying attention as to who goes first.
That's back to me.
Back to Mike.
Go ahead.
Rotation.
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
I'm going all overs here, but I'm going to go over. If I went over on Jacoby having 206, I got to go over on Pop Douglas. I will go over.
I would agree with Mike's reasoning, and for that reason, I'm going to take the over as well.
And I'm going to go under on that one. First half spread. Is this me? It's 5.5.
Okay, so I have a question about the question.
It's the Bengals minus 5.5.
Bengals minus 5.5. Okay. So I'm going to take the Patriots then?
Plus 5.5?
Yeah, I'll take the Patriots plus 5.5 in the first half.
Me too.
We're all on the Patriots. Let's go.
Bunch of homers.
And our final in the over-unders is the total score. The number from Mr. Morrell he's printed out is 40.5. 40.5. I start?
Yes, you do.
I'm going under. I see tractor pull today.
God, I've gone over on everything. I don't know how I go under on this one, too. Screw it. Let's go over. Let's have fun. Let's get weird. Let's get crazy.
Yep, I got the over as well.
All right.
Okay.
I'm all overs and positivity today, so you're welcome.
Okay. We need to take a break, according to Matt Morrell. So we will do that. And as we go to break, let's talk about, please, Duncan. Here's a question for the crowd. If your team runs on their fans, what do the fans run on? When you kick off your day with Duncan, we're with you all the way to the end zone. Make a run to Duncan, official coffee run of the New England Patriots. We'll be right back.
Without good blocking, your team's not going anywhere. Cisco blocks cyber attacks for customers around the world, including the entire Fortune 100 and the NFL. Because when the game is on the line, and it's always on the line, the NFL relies on Cisco.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex This contours to it, so the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience,
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
Without good blocking, your team's not going anywhere. Cisco blocks cyber attacks for customers around the world, including the entire Fortune 100 and the NFL. Because when the game is on the line, and it's always on the line, the NFL relies on Cisco.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex This contours to it, so the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience,
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns to turnovers and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no.
Replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, From first downs and touchdowns to turnovers and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com. Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Matt Smith.
Ian, welcome back to the Patriots pregame show, fueled by Duncan. It's also brought to you by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Webradio@patriots.com. This is James McLeod saying, Matt, welcome aboard. Friendly fan. Glad to have you, and you bring a lot to the party. That's probably debatable. My prediction is that the Pats lose by a few.
He might ask to draw you, Matt.
So that'll be like between 3 and 7.
Okay,
A
as
few.
opposed to a
Right,
couple,
right.
Which
Handful.
would be a 2-point loss, right?
About a dozen.
Okay. 855-PATS-500 is our number. Let's go to Trevor, who says he's from Korea. Trevor, you're next on Patriots pregame show, fueled by Duncan. Good morning to you, sir.
No way. Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey, so I just had one question. Do you think that Drake May will ever start this season?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
So you think, how many games do you think, sorry, I'm eating at the same time. How many games do you think Jacoby
It's a show no-no,
Brissett
isn't it?
start this season?
Several.
A few. I think he's going to start a few.
A few. So we're thinking maybe 3 to 4 games, and then
I would say more. I'm going to say like
5 to 7?
6 to 8, maybe something like
In the
that.
same
But I'm hoping. I'm hopeful.
Okay, and do you think by that time that this O-line will be ready to defend Drake May? Is my question. I think we have a really bad O-line right now.
Yeah, but I think it'll be better than it is now because I have to think some of the pre-snap stuff will get cleaned up.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think it'll be a great. I don't think it'll be a great situation.
So. No, I think that's a good way to put it. It won't be a great situation.
Trevor, thank you for the phone call. For those of us who are watching us on Patriots.com, those of you who are watching, you're seeing the quarterbacks loosen up there, the aforementioned Drake May. And Paul, I'm going to ask you this one. Joe Milton, as announced by Deuce, is the emergency quarterback. At the risk of getting an ice cream headache, what does that mean?
It means he can enter the game if both quarterbacks get hurt or in the fourth quarter.
Okay. And so that from a roster standpoint, game day roster standpoint, not a surprise. That's what everybody thought, that's how the Patriots are going to play this, correct?
Yeah. Now, I guess you could say that there's a modicum of news in that those that felt like the Patriots did not want to play Drake May right away under any circumstances, well, Drake May is still the backup.
Yeah.
So if Jacoby Brissett gets hurt on the first series of the game, Joe Milton's not going in.
Correct.
Drake May is.
Correct. Webradio@patriots.com. This is L from Wisconsin, I think. Y'all, that usually isn't used in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I don't think a y'all is being Wisconsin.
Maybe it's a transplant. I'm fully aware that I'm being reactionary right now, but if May sits all year because of the situation, Paul, and not because of him, then that's a fireable offense for all involved. I don't think any of us think that May is going to sit the entire year.
No, I don't, and that's why I wasn't really moved by the several week thing. That's about what I thought he was going to be anyway.
I'm not moved by the several weeks thing at all. I'm moved by the when this and this gets right.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't get right, we're not. It's
Yeah.
not. It has nothing to do with May.
And then to that, I think that's an indictment if you can't even get the team good enough to get to a point where you can get your rookie quarterback some experience. But I don't know. We're about to start the season today. Like, you're going to start getting all kinds of new, real information. And, what does it look like with Jacoby Brissett? How good is the offensive line? What does it really, really look like? And now then you can start to really assess, like, what makes sense to
Some
get.
shot of the new C's there, boys.
Yes, sharp looking.
So now you guys might know more about this stuff than I do. David Andrews has a gold C. Is that because he's been captain for more years?
Yeah.
And then Jacoby Brissett's is white.
Yeah, I think once you fill I think four 4 years as a captain, you get the gold one. But I know they've evolved a little bit. But we haven't had him around here, Paul, so I haven't dug too deeply into those captains.
So let's dig a
Why
little
is it
deep.
so smoky there? What's going on?
It's a jungle. You never know. There's could be some
you
wild
can see
smoke
that
and everything
humidity
going
there
on
in the jungle.
Yeah, at 58 degrees. Mike, let's delve into the captain's patch a little bit, though, if you would. We talked about it a little bit in our pre-show prep. Big deal? Not a big deal? What do you think the players think? And Andrews, on All Access, again, another plug, didn't think it was a big deal to have the visual affirmation of the captain's patch, but wasn't like upset about it. What's your take on that?
I kind of like it, to be honest. I mean, I as a player, I always kind of wanted that, as a high school player, whatever that counts for. But, it seems like it's important for Gerard and what they're trying to do and acknowledging the leaders on the team and having that way, to put it on the jersey. I think you can go overboard with some of that stuff, though, when you start getting into like helmet stickers and all that kind of stuff in college. But I'm fine with it. I think it's it's a nice honor, and for certainly somebody like David Andrews right there, who's been a long-time leader, it's I think it's something he deserves.
I loved helmet stickers.
Yeah, what'd you get them for?
All kinds of things. If you threw a touchdown pass or caught a touchdown, ran a touchdown, threw a key block, or made a sack on defense,
at the coach's
interception.
whim. You could just anything.
And it was all for team-oriented play too. It wasn't just like, well, you were the star that got all the points. It was you did the right things to help. If you were a guard and pulled properly and led a sweep, you got the same thing that the guy who scored the touchdown would get. That kind of thing. No, I wouldn't condone that in the NFL. I think it's a high school and a college thing. I kind of like, but. I like, and we were talking about this a little bit off air before we started the show, because believe it or not, we have a full show before the show even starts.
The show inside the show.
Right. So Matt and Mike were talking about it a little bit. Mike, basically just voiced what he just said about it. And I do think, like, if it were hockey, and Mike is a hockey player. I don't know if you know this, Mike. Matt.
Play a little puck.
Star at Holy Cross.
Yes, I've heard.
I don't know if I was
Star. That's why I hired you.
Under the tutelage of the great Paul Perillo, who I
Correct.
believe is being inducted into the Holy Cross Hall of Fame later this year.
Oh, I hope so. I'll be there if he is.
So hockey, it's a huge thing. Like, there's a C, and you have a couple of A's.
On the sweater.
On
Not
the
the
sweater.
jersey.
On the sweater. Right? Baseball, I'm not telling you they've never put C's on uniforms in baseball, but it's very rare.
Yeah.
Most teams have never done that.
Stupid.
Football, the same. So if they never put these patches on, I wouldn't have said, well, why don't football players have it on? But I do think, regardless of what you do to show everybody, I think Matt brought up a good little, I think, example of how you can sort of set something up in your locker room. I think you called it it's their shrine.
Like, the locker room is a sacred place.
It's a sacred place for the players in all sports.
Right.
Have something in there that can be recognized by your peers.
Yep.
This is fine.
It's fine.
I never understood Bill Belichick's opposition to this.
Right.
And he was adamant. I don't know. We played 100 years and no one ever had any C's on the. Well, so what?
Right.
You played 100 years and everybody ran the ball every play too. You throw it now.
Right.
Should we just do it just the same way we did it for 100 years, just because?
Right. You're watching pregame warmups from Cincinnati, and while we're talking about the captain's patches, and I know, understandably, we're focused on the Patriots, but I got to tell you, those orange uniforms are really scary for Cincinnati. Boy, that's intimidating.
Orange.
Oh no.
Are they supposed to be intimidating?
No, I don't know, but I mean, they
the
made
more
a big
orange,
deal about
the
it.
better. I don't know.
I like them. I'll tell you that. But I didn't know they were supposed to be intimidating.
While we're on the topic, though, of jersey patches, I'd point out second year that the rookies are wearing patches for their first NFL game. So if you noticed on Joe Milton there, you'd see a rookie patch. You'll see him on Drake May. Everybody who's dressing today will have one of those as well.
Now I'm kind of anti that.
I'm 100% anti that. Like, what are we doing? Like, is it the Cub Scouts where all of a sudden you do something and you get a sticker?
It's just it's like just to let everybody on the other team know this guy has no idea what he's doing today.
If you're a first year player, you're out. It's your first game.
Right.
Perhaps.
Yeah. 855-PATS-500 is our number here. Chris from New Hampshire has been waiting patiently. Chris, you're next on the Patriots pregame show. Good afternoon.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking the call. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, hey, Chris.
Perfect. Just two quick things. The first is on the report that you guys touched on earlier regarding the direction of Patriots and the timeline that Drake will play. If they are waiting for the perfect line, perfect players to play, it just seems a little bizarre. It's like telling my 16-year-old, hey, you got your license? we got to wait till you get a Tesla so you can drive. Like, kind of bizarre. Excuse me. And then the other thing is, with the quality of the games that we saw this past week, I don't see the Patriots scoring more than 18 points per game. So Brissett is definitely not the answer for them. I'll let you guys talk about it. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for your call, Chris. Just on the driving comp that he made, speaking from a little bit of experience here, I wasn't excited about the kids getting on the highway when they first got their license. How about a couple weeks of back roads and drive to school, see if you can do that without incident.
Just sit in the driveway.
Then let's graduate a little bit.
So I actually liked his analogy. I think it's like, so you have your license, you can drive, but not unless we get a better car. That's what he said. We got to get a Tesla before you can drive.
Well, we just want make sure the tires are all working.
I mean, if you want to drive that over there, you can do that. If you want to, you want to go to practice, we'll let you do that.
Gotta have
but no. If you want to actually drive, we got to have the best.
Right. We got to have.
You're never going to have a perfect situation.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think they think it's going to be perfect. I think they're trying to do right by the kid and get him, coach the offensive line up a little bit. Maybe getting Bourne back and healthy provides him with more weapons offensively. And if they can do that, they're thinking that maybe they're giving him the best chance to succeed.
I'm going to hold out hope that there was a misunderstanding in the report and that...
Oh, I don't think there was any misunderstanding. I think this is all about managing expectations. This reeks to me of, hey, Patriot fans, this is what's going to be going on.
No, but I'm going to go... I'm going to pretend, because I want to keep myself in a good mood on opening week, that there was never anything that was said about... he's not going to play until the offensive line situation is rectified. And there was sort of an inference there from, it was an Ian Rappaport?
Yeah.
There was an inference there that sort of connected dots, and that didn't come from the team, because that would bother me. Because I think there's, you want to do right by Drake May? I think they are doing right by Drake May because he's probably not ready right this second to be playing. But the second that he's ready to play, I don't care what the state of the rest of the team is, he should play, because there's a lot to be gained from playing under adverse conditions, as long as you're ready to play.
Ducey's getting angry now.
I really believe in that. I believe in it really strongly. I think this whole notion of these guys aren't ever ready to play. Like, there's no such thing. Like, we can't, create this in a test tube. That's why, you want to really... go down a rabbit hole with me of things that annoy. That's why I push back on analytics so much, because analytics operate in a perfect scenario that doesn't exist. It's 4th and 1. It says we get these 99% of the time. It doesn't take into account that your season is on the line and your coach is going to get fired if this doesn't work. There's a little bit more at stake than what it says on the spreadsheet. There is no such thing as perfect working conditions for a rookie quarterback. He's not going to be ready whenever he takes his first snap, right? Correct. He's not going to have perfect protection on every play. He's not going to have Jerry Rice and Randy Moss in their prime running down the field wide open. It's going to be sometimes up to the guy to make some plays and figure out what works and what doesn't work, and experience. And this is what Peyton Manning talked about a lot with his side of it. Tom was on the other side. I don't even think they were in the same stratosphere. Peyton Manning was the number 1 overall pick. Tom Brady, of course, needed time as the 199th pick to be ready to play. To me, it's Mahomes.
Well, clearly this is the topic du jour, as Nick in Raleigh says. I expect May's first game is scheduled for week 5, but I have no faith in our offensive line in keeping Brissett healthy for 4 weeks. What say you? If the plan is week 5, can the O-line keep Brissett safe? I think that's a wild card.
I'm sick of speculating about what this team is going to look like. Let's just wait an hour and we'll start to get some actual real information. Because
I would say I don't really understand the correlation between quarterback injury and protect. You can get hurt. You could get sacked 3 times for the season and get hurt.
Jordan Love.
I just don't really understand. I think the offensive line is going to struggle. I do. I agree with the emailer. But does that mean that Jacoby Brissett's going to get hurt?
Yeah. It's more about Drake May, and but there is, for me, I don't need Drake May to start this game right now. I think there is value. I think you've heard from Tom Brady, you've heard from Bill Belichick this week talking about, what goes on in a year. Drake May had 30 starts, I think. 21 years old.
2 full seasons of starting.
So I just go back to when we sat with Josh McDaniels and went through Tom Brady's greatest comebacks, the video we did, a little plug there for Paul and I.
Yeah.
But how much of that Tom Brady was won before the snap, by understanding what was going on. And Drake May has no concept right now of how any defense is going to play the New England Patriots defense. So maybe it is week 6, week 7, but that's 6 or 7 games to,
I agree with you,
to
Mike,
not only
1,000%.
understand like how what we're good at, what we're not, how teams are playing us, and for you to say, all right, Drake, this is what we're expecting Cincinnati to do. And guess what? This is what they did to us. So when a team, so you're starting to stack experience then of how teams are going to play him, what to expect, and start to give him the answers to the test. Because if he were to roll out here in the first month of the season, he's flying blind. He's going to be relying on his athleticism more than anything.
Yeah, and I'm going to trust them on that. I agree with everything Mike just said. And I'm going to trust them to let me know when they think he's ready.
Yeah,
that's all. I just don't
give
want
him a fighting chance.
I just don't want him sitting if they feel, I think he's, guys, Alex, the Ben McAdoo. I'm watching. I think this kid's ready. And then Alex pushing back. We can't put him out there in this situation.
Right. All right. As you're watching,
I would hate that.
As you're watching Patriot warm-ups, let's go to Tamara Brown, who's located in Studio A. A little new look here for the Patriots pregame, fueled by Duncan. Tamara, as we're watching warm-ups, and you see the new number 7 on Jacoby Brissett, or at least you did see the new number 7 there for a second. All the talk on Drake May, and do you agree with the report today and all the talk that Drake does need to sit for a little while before we throw him out there?
Yeah, I think when you weigh the long and short-term benefits of playing Drake May, I think it does make sense for him to sit, wait, and watch Jacoby Brissett learn this offense. He's been in it for 9 years playing in this league. He has experience playing with AVP. So I do not mind if he waits till week 5 to play, especially when you also consider the strength of schedule that the Patriots have. They're playing the Seahawks next week at home. Then after that, they have the 49ers and the Jets. So it could be good for him to sit and watch a veteran play in those.
I'll throw this out for all of you as I see Anthony Jennings in warm-ups with his number 33 going on. Mike, I know you're concerned about where's the pass rush coming from. For everybody, is it too much to expect that you're going to get a little bit of a rush from Jennings after his year last year?
I think you hope to. You hope to. I think he was outstanding with run stopping and tackles for loss, and it was kind of a revelation. And you love when things like that happen, where a player goes out and an opportunity rises for another guy. I just need to see it off the edge. He's never been a guy with speed, and that's. We talk about it on offense a lot. I think that's the case on defense too. Need speed, need Uche and Zimenez to threaten the edge.
Paul, on Jennings?
Yeah, I think Mike is right. I think he's a run player. They'll blitz him from time to time, but I think he's a strong, stout edge setter in the run game. I thought he played well last year.
Okay, I saw another guy in warm-ups. I saw Tristan Hill, who, Mike, you mentioned that he was elevated from the practice squad. Coach Jerry Montgomery actually broke down some preseason plays with both Hill and Farms. I think he likes those young guys. I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that they're Joe Green and Randy White by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he likes what he's got in those two guys and likes the fact that they're, taking coaching.
Yeah, I think the thing about Tristan Hill that he mentioned, Matt, in that video was his effort, and that he's always given high motor, and that's something that you like from Christian Barmore, that he just had that kind of relentless driving legs that gets inside and just is not going to be denied of collapsing the pocket. So I'm sure Tristan Hill probably a little disappointed that didn't end, initially made the 53-man and then was kicked back to the practice squad. So he's got something to prove. They did bring in another defensive lineman, as I look at my notes here right now. Who
says here?
That's his name.
And I crossed it out. These new guys arrived, but Tristan Hill, was a significant draft.
It's make or break here. Yeah. For Hill, this is his NFL career's on the line. He's kind of. Listen. These guys are NFL players, but he was a disappointment, right? Second round pick, Dallas, didn't work out. If it doesn't work out, probably not going to get another shot. If it doesn't work out with the Patriots, as a fifth-year guy, so he's got to put up now and show that the draft status that he earned, because Belichick said this all the time, and I apologize. I'm going back to a lot of stuff that Belichick has said over the years because I was here for 25 years with Bill. So a lot of the stuff that I sort of formed my thoughts about were muscle memory, right? So Bill would talk about guys that were drafted high, almost always, without fail, were remarkably talented guys. You do not trick people into thinking you're talented enough to be a first-round pick if you don't have the talent. Now, there's a million reasons why you bust. But generally, it's not because, Zach Wilson can't throw the football. He doesn't have the talent to play the position. It's all the other stuff. And Tristan Hill was a second-round pick because he had the talent to be a second-round pick, And for whatever reason, he hasn't put it together. Mike, you're right about the practice squad was probably a disappointment. But again, much like Jalen Reagor, you're able to sort of put those guys on waivers. Put those guys, on the street and tell them, don't go anywhere. We're just going to re-sign you to the practice squad. You can't do that with someone you have to put on waivers. So that's the difference sometimes. And they probably told Tristan Hill, you're in our plans. We're gonna get you elevated when we can.
Tamara, I want to ask you this question as we're talking all over the defensive line, but one of the people that we haven't talked a lot about, and this guy's certainly flown under the radar, is Deatrich Wise. And are we neglecting that, Wise can give them some pressure and some veteran leadership also as a captain?
Yeah, I think we're absolutely neglecting Deatrich Wise's ability to get to the quarterback. I think a lot of people forget about him because he is one of the older guys in this room, but I think he still has a lot of fight in him, and especially today, it's not tonight, especially this afternoon, I think you can expect him to have a bigger game, a bigger role in this with no Lawrence Guy, no Christian Barmore, no Matthew Judon, of course, who's with the Falcons. I think he's going to be one of those guys that you can look at and hopefully circle that's going to get to the quarterback.
Okay, webradio at Patriots.com. The theme of the day is the quarterback again, and Chris from California says, one thing that confuses me, why was Mac Jones, quote, the most pro-ready, end quote, in his draft with one starting season, but Drake May is inexperienced with twice the time playing in college? Make it make sense to me. Thank you, guys. And gals.
Yeah, that's a good question, I think. I think part of it is related to the player that Mac Jones was, in that, I think he's smarts and understanding offense, and you thought that he'd be able to get the ball out quick and understand those things. Paul, I don't know. That's a good question.
He spent 5 years in college as opposed to 3. May came to the pros as a 21-year-old. I think, and to Mike's point, I think Mac Jones, a lot of people felt like had sort of played in a pro-style offense and sort of understood the system and the concepts and whatnot. The physical skills were lacking, but they felt like, and to me, it makes a little sense. If you're a guy like Drake May, maybe you weren't as diligent as you had to be because you relied so much on your physical ability. Mac Jones never had that luxury. He had to know the ins and outs of coverages and systems and schemes and option routes and whatnot because he didn't have the physical to fall back on. Now, that's simplistic, but I think it's accurate. I think it's age and experience, which Mac Jones had a lot more of. And I'm not talking about just starts because I think May had a couple more starts than Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones had, I want to say, like 17 starts, and May had like 23 or something like that. But there's a lot of time in that system that Mac Jones had that Drake May didn't.
On the Patriots pregame show Fueled by Duncan, you were watching warmups in Cincinnati, and another number that just flashed a couple minutes ago that I saw during warmups, this is both for Tamara and for Deuce, was Keon White. And I read one of the scribes this week refer to Keon White as one of the premier young pass rushers in the league. And I wanted to say, where is that coming from? I do think there are some expectations for Keon White, but I don't think it's fair necessarily to put that kind of pressure on him. I'll start with you first, Tamara.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's fair to put that type of pressure on him, especially with what we've seen throughout camp. I think he's still trying to find his place on this defense. I'm not sure where that is yet. As of yet, going into this one, I think this is going to give us a good idea of who Keon White is. I don't see him as this wrecking ball that everyone's been saying all summer long. I think he has yet to prove himself on this defense, so maybe today can be day one of proving that to everyone else.
Deuce?
Yeah, I hate being the pump the brakes on Keon White guy because that's just not my style. Like, I want to be the let the open the gas up on Keon White
because he's a physical
he's got a lot
specimen
of potential.
Yes.
But I think Keon White told you this summer we're telling you that he needs to improve on those, rushing off of the edge and having counter moves. And for some reason, he looks to have those things when he's rushing from the inside. So I'd expect today we'll see him on early downs, standing up as an outside linebacker, setting the edge, probably on the left side. And then on passing downs, I'd like to see him reduce inside and be an interior pass rusher. That's where I think he's going to, make his biggest impact. Where I depart from some of these projections is that I don't think he's going to be an every down pass rushing menace. I think he's going to struggle to get after the passer on early downs because it's not really his game off the edge. I think he's strong and he's going to stand up and he's going to set a good edge like Anthony Jennings does. But I think those two guys correlate very closely in that they're big, physical, tough guys that you like to have on your defense. But when it comes down to getting around tackles and using counter moves to get through tackles, I don't know if they're going to consistently be productive in that role.
So this is how this went down, Matt. When Mike and I were involved in a group interview with Keon White, what are some of the things that you think you're really good at? Rushing from the inside. What do you think you need to work on? Rushing from the outside. He was honest. He was very, very honest and transparent. Yep. Going back to on field, the pregame warmups, and I'm sure Tamara is monitoring all this stuff. Looks like Michael Jordan is in at left guard, which is, I think, something that Evan talked about during the course of the week off of practice. It seemed like Jordan was there first and rotating with Nick Leverett. So Chooks, Jordan, Andrews, Robinson, Owenu is the offensive line that was taking some reps in pregame.
And Tamara, you had something to add to that.
Yes, I wanted to add to that I talked to Mike Owenu before this matchup, and he talked a lot about Caden Wallace and Layden Robinson. When I asked him about the rookie's ability to come in and get these reps with those injuries happening, he said he's impressed with the way those guys can play multiple positions and they've been able to catch onto the offense fast. So, yes, we'll see Michael Jordan and Nick Leverett getting rotated in at left guard, but he's excited to see those two guys in the mix as well.
And as we're talking throughout whatever the positions are, say for quarterback, it's week 1, and nobody's played 60 or 70 snaps yet. Mayo mentioned that a couple times during the week. Conditioning is going to be a big part. I was interested to hear him say after he's watching the Thursday night game, that he thought conditioning played a role in that game. So take that with a grain of salt as you're watching and seeing players rotating in at a fairly consistent basis. Would you say that that's accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just to reiterate, I'm hoping Caden Wallace gets in there today. That would be, just a good sign to me. I mean, maybe not so much a sign of his just that they, continue to want to get him work and see him as a guy that could enter the mix. I mean, let's face it, he's a third-round pick at a position of significant need, and to see him be able to get out there and play in this first game and show that they have at least some kind of confidence in him and his development would be be a good sign.
Webradio at Patriots.com, and this is Katina from Houston, who at the end of her note says, "I'm really enjoying this positive Deuce. I wonder how long it'll last before his negativity sneaks in." Wow.
About 3 hours.
Negative. Wow.
No. Hey.
But her main question is, I'm saying that might be that. Is it possible that the patches are also used to remind the captains themselves that they are expected to show leadership and step up more?
Sure, I'd hope that they wouldn't need that reminder, that they would kind of play regardless. That was kind of what Jabril Peppers said, that it doesn't really matter. I still kind of approach business, which, by the way, Jabril Peppers, it does look like he's going to wear one of those Guardian caps today. He tried it out this week. He's got that, so hopefully it prevents him from getting any concussions, but he is the only Patriot who will be wearing the Guardian cap today. As
I see Devon Godchow in pregame warmups, yet another reminder of how things are being done differently around here. Devon Godchow with a podcast. And who was one of his first guests this week? The head coach of the team.
There you go.
That was a little bit different, Paul. Yes? No?
Yeah, I didn't. I'm not aware of that. But yeah, I'm not. I've lost the podcast world,
There's too many.
I guess. I don't know.
There's only one. You just need
Godchow has original. A podcast?
Yeah.
Chow Down.
Okay.
Tamara knows that. She knows the Chow Down
well, Tamara's
podcast.
a little more in that demographic
I know.
than the old man.
Yep.
Grandpa doesn't. Grandpa's not up on all the podcasts.
Yeah, but I find it interesting that Mayo's doing podcasts
David
with
Andrews,
his players.
David Andrews and Brian Hoyer as well. I mean, we're just seeing
that one I did know about, only because Brian Hoyer was in the office the other day and he came by and he said something.
He asked you for some tips.
He said
on
hello
podcasting?
to me. He did not, but he did say hello. My colleague, of course.
You told him you're one of the world's original podcasters, right?
I didn't, but
855-PATS-500, the number. Johnny from South Beach has been waiting patiently. Good afternoon, Johnny. You're next on Patriots pregame show.
Howdy, everyone. Matt, big fan of you from the past world. Glad to have you on the pregame show.
Thank you, Johnny.
You guys kind of already talked about this, and maybe this is just magical hosting again from you, Matt. But I was going to call in and talk about the pass rush a little bit. I am not very confident. I didn't think there was really anything to write home about last year without Judon, and we don't have Judon again. I'm at about a 4 on a scale of 0 to 10 on pass rush confidence, but to do a positive spin, I do love watching Keon White play football. I don't know what that means, but I think he's just a really entertaining player.
Johnny, thank you for the call, and we'll certainly, Mike, you share his pessimism on this. It sounds cliche. I hate to say that as we're looking at Gerard Mayo during pregame warmups, but no Matt Judon means there's an opportunity for somebody else. Now, nobody has presented as showing that they can do the same kinds of things that Matthew Judon has been able to do, but that's why they play the game. Let's see if somebody can take that opportunity and run with it. I'm not saying it's going to be Keon White, but is the committee of White, Jennings, Uche, can they all tick things up a little bit and with more opportunities maybe try to fill that hole?
Yeah, you hope so. I mean, but that's one of the great unknowns about a team having to rebuild. And I just think there's certain core tenets of football that, I've come to believe in over the years. And that is the best defenses have guys who can win one-on-one, whether it's coming off the edge, whether it's at the linebacker position, whether it's interior rushers. I don't think a defense can truly be the kind of defense you need in today's NFL without players who can win one-on-one. Now, I don't have much doubt that DeMarcus Covington is very well versed in how to be aggressive as a play caller and knowing how to spin the dial. We saw a little bit of it in the first 2 preseason games. So I think that they will be able to manufacture enough pass rush on third downs, and they'll be okay there. But my concern is more against the conventional passing game. When it's just, first, second down, you're not quite sure if it's run or pass. You need to kind of play both. And those are the moments when you don't have guys who can quickly beat their blocker and cause some disruption that your defense starts to, really get in the crosshairs on the back end. So you'll like what they have with Gonzalez and Jones. I think those are 2 good starting places as outside corners. But as the old saying goes, no one can cover forever. So they're going to have to get to Joe Burrow at some point. It can't be 3-4 seconds every single snap because he'll pick them apart.
So on the other side of the ball, James from Seattle writes in, earlier in the week, some of the guys talked about how passing on early downs could take some pressure off the run game. And his question is, what would that look like today? Paul.
I mean, it's what Mike and I hope to see. That I don't think neither one of us, I don't think is hopefully confident that it will. But just instead of just handing the ball off to Ramondre Stevenson on 1st and 10, maybe put it in his stomach and take it back out and throw a quick little, flat route to Hunter Henry for 7 yards. Yeah. You leak the tight end out, easy throw and catch, no pressure on the passer because there's no time for any sort of pass rush to develop. And instead of, 2nd and 8, it's 2nd and 3. And now you have your whole playbook open to you.
So, Mike, that brings up a great point that Paul makes. All of Paul shows, it's been doom and gloom since the 4th of July. It's a down year. Nothing right's going to happen. We haven't seen these guys call a game yet. Can we wait until we see something? Maybe they do on first down do a little play action and get 7 yards on first down. Can we wait to see what some of that develops and see what it looks like when the game actually counts?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I just say, exactly what Paul just said is exactly what I would do against the Patriots defense. The things that I'm afraid of for the Patriots defense are the same things that I'm hoping that the offense does, which is, throwing early and trying to take advantage of, what they think you're going to do. I just really don't want to see, first play, wide zone right, drop for a 3-yard loss. I think that is just the start that I don't want to see. I'd love to see just a little magic there on the first early going, just to establish a little rhythm. And that's a big thing that we didn't see, really much of in camp either, was this offense getting into a rhythm, stacking play after play. It was often kind of stunted, whether it was in practice or in the preseason game. So make an easy pass, make an easy play, get things rolling early.
Spee from Fresno, California, thank you for your patience. You're next on the Patriots pregame show, fueled by Duncan.
Hey, Matt, nice to meet you. Congratulations on ascending the Iron Throne of the pre-post game.
Thank you, Spee. Nice to meet you. And thanks for your call. What's on your mind?
Mike, I got your 28-3 shirt on right now. But
oh, there you go.
I want to ask you guys about Gonzalez, because I'm not quite sure where my expectations of him should be this year. Is it more like we're looking for something like a second-year jump, or is this just a continuation of his rookie year? What are you guys expecting from him this year?
Thank you for the call, Spee, and that is a great pregame show question for week 1. Not just because he was nice to me, by the way, but I think that's an reported kind of storyline going into this year. Christian Gonzalez. We have all of 3 games of a body of work to watch from him. What are your expectations, Mike?
I'm just hoping he's solid. I mean, that's really, I don't want to overstate it. I'm not expecting him to be a number one shutdown corner, but I want them to put him in those positions so we can really get a sense of what he truly is. Because I think even last year, Paul, they kind of protected him a little bit. It wasn't go.
You and I think that, but I think we're like the only two.
Yeah.
I mean, including
so.
Evan. Evan pushes back on us all the time when we talk like that.
He's
I
gonna
agree with
lock it all
Mike.
down.
Like my expectation, I think that the expectation questions are hard because like what you expect. And, someone else might not, think that that's the same thing. But I think the way Mike put it, I expect him to be solid. I'm not expecting him to go out and be the next Deion Sanders who's just going to take away half the field and line up on everybody's top
Not
receiver one-on-one. Well, I think a lot of people think he did that last year, to Mike's point. And I didn't really see that on a consistent basis.
Right.
The best play that I saw him make was coming off of his guy, coming across the field basically as the deep safety, and catching a woefully underthrown deep ball by Tua.
Right.
That was a great play by Christian Gonzalez. But it wasn't like I lined up on Tyreek Hill and I locked him down. He didn't. That's not what happened on that play. And I think some people sort of think of that. I'm with Mike 100%. I expect Gonzalez to be solid. I don't want to have to worry about him at all this year because I have, quite frankly, too many other things to worry about than my first-round pick, who was really promising in that small sample that we got to see. So I'm with Mike.
All right, Matt, let's roll out the Sunday six-pack.
This is the Sunday six-pack, so kick back and listen to my position. I'm itching to get the picks back. You better bring a big stack. Get it mixed, Jack. I came to win it, yeah, this is the Sunday six-pack.
So, Paul, as you're writing during this, and I noticed this during the over-unders as well, are you, keeping score?
I do.
That's why we play the game. Why else would we do it?
Okay, but,
do you want to know why I do?
I do. That's why. No,
Matt, you want to tell him why I do?
Needs to double check.
I am bad with numbers.
Oh, okay. So this is for Matt Morrell. Okay.
This is so I correct the scores on next Sunday morning when I come in. Everybody's record will be adjusted.
Okay. That's a good answer.
You see a lot of cross-outs now on these sheets.
Thank you. All right, 1 o'clock games is where we're going to start here up in upstate New York where the Arizona Cardinals go to Buffalo and Rich Stadium. I'm still going to call it Rich Stadium.
There's two people that are listening that know that reference. You and I.
Where the Bills are 7-point favorites. I don't know. Again.
It goes to Mike.
Well, Mike starts first.
Going to go in a rotation.
Mike, Paul, Matt.
All right.
Mike, Paul, Matt.
I'll get that by week 6 for sure.
Paul, Matt, Mike. Matt, Mike, Paul.
Correct.
Etc.
That's when it gets
and
tough.
So on. I'm going to take Buffalo. I'll lay the points. I do have some questions about them. Moving on without Stephon Diggs, but probably good for the locker room. We'll see how it goes. Buffalo.
I'm going to agree with Mike, and I'm going to go with my Buffalo theory, which is not necessarily foolproof, but, teams that don't often go to Buffalo tend to have a really hard time playing in Buffalo.
How about West Coast teams going East Coast for 1 o'clock games? It's as simple as that.
Yeah, to me it would be different. If this were the Rams, I wouldn't be picking Buffalo. That's a West Coast team that would be going East. I just feel like the Cardinals aren't ready to do that, I just think it's a different animal.
So hold on, just as an aside, you think that much of the Rams?
Rams are very good. Yeah.
Okay, wow. All right, game 2 on the slate. The Jacksonville Jaguars, as Phil Simms likes to call them, are 3.5-point dogs at Miami. Paul, to kick it off.
So I'm tempted to take the hook here, but I will not. I think Miami's offense generally comes out of the gate pretty strong. I think at home, they don't have that, Mike, you pointed this out during the week on Thursday, they don't have that big September in Miami home field advantage in this one because it's Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They play in the same climate, but I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Am I next? That means me next? Okay. I know everybody thinks that there's no carryover from year to year, and I genuinely agree with that sentiment. I think there's a lot of pressure on in Miami. McDaniel just got a contract extension. I think the owner has come out and said he expects them to win. They need to answer some questions as far as can they play when the temperature's under 60 degrees. I think they're going to look at this, and they're going to lay a big one on Jacksonville today. I like Miami big.
I like Miami big, too. Tyreek Hill got arrested today. Nothing he hasn't dealt with before, so I think they'll be all right. I got Miami.
Just the subtlety of that line really made me laugh. That was very well done.
Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos go to Lumen Field in Seattle, where the Sea Puppies are 6-point favorites. Who goes here first?
You go first.
I go first.
You drive the boat.
Seahawks. You know what? No, excuse me. Denver covers. I like Seattle to win the game.
Oh, Denver covers.
Denver +6.
See, now I have a scratch out on my.
If I don't know how to bet, so excuse my verbiage.
No, we're not allowed
That's
to.
why we don't let Matt. That's why we don't let Morel do it either.
Okay, great.
Seahawks.
I don't even know what that means.
Seahawks, kind of my team, my B team when I was little. Excited to see them next week, but I'm gonna go Seattle.
Who, Stacey James?
Yeah. Big Jim Zorn fan?
No, Steve Largent. I had a thing for Steve Largent. I don't know.
Jim Zorn played with him.
I know, but I don't know.
State rep or a senator, Largent?
Senator of Oklahoma?
Oklahoma, right?
Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am with Mike. I think Seattle, another tough place to play. Not a great place for a rookie quarterback to be making his debut. I think that defense will give young Bo Nix a lot of problems.
Some sneaky heat, by the way, on Sean Payton this year. I don't think anything's going to happen if they don't play well this year, but there are high expectations for him to right that ship this year, and he better...
You think that's why he's playing Bo Nix? To lower expectations?
No, I think that's his guy, and I'm going to sink or swim with Bo Nix. That's what I think. Sunday Night Football on NBC, where Paul's favorite team, the Detroit Lions, are giving 3.5 to his other favorite team, the LA Rams. Two of the media darlings out there. I don't know how both of them are going to be able to play in the Super Bowl because only one team comes from the NFC, but Paul, I'll let you start.
No, Mike goes
you
first.
Can't let him.
Sorry.
There's a rule.
Hooper drives the boat, Chief.
Sorry.
We got to keep this. This is becoming a bit now. We have to keep this going. I'm going to take the LAR +3.5. I think it's a close game. I do think Detroit can pull it out, but I'm going to take the LAR, but I think they're going to lose a close one.
This is a really solid matchup, and I know what Matt hates when any team that's hasn't established themselves for 27 years,
50, but who's
gets a chance to be good. He doesn't like that. You guys will learn that over the coming 17 weeks. I'm going to take Detroit at home, but this is a good solid matchup, and I could see the Rams winning outright, but I'm going to take Detroit at home.
My heart instead of my head here says that too many boneless wings for Applebee man Dan Campbell, and I think genius Sean McVay wins that game outright in Detroit. Monday Night Football.
Did everybody catch the hatred? That's the key to that prediction was hatred on all levels.
Matt Morrell, why wasn't an over-under Aaron Rodgers over-under 5 snaps? When they take on San Francisco and go.
That would be a likely to be earned incentive, Mike. See what I did there?
All right, I don't know who goes first, but
so I go first.
JETS Jets travel.
On the show, Glenn. I go first.
Travel to the 49ers. Go ahead.
Go
ahead, Johnny.
Another really good matchup.
Really good matchup.
I think the Jets have an argument for the best roster in football. I do. But they have an enormous question. Well, two of them, in my opinion. Number one, the more important one, is a 40-something-year-old quarterback coming off a torn Achilles. The second one is I don't believe in the coach. And that's no small factor. I'm going to take the Niners at home, but I don't think this will be the blowout that everybody else is predicting for this game. I think the Jets will show up and play well.
My next?
Yeah.
Another sneaky hot seat is the great Kyle Shanahan. They got to do something, and they got to do it now. They need to take that great roster, as Paul's talking about rosters, and prove that they can win a Super Bowl with it. I like the Niners to beat the Jets on Monday Night Football, which brings us to the reason why we're here.
No. We have another person to pick.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to need to write that out, I think, to go through the rotation.
It's just we all pick the
All three of us pick each game.
Sorry, yeah. That's fair.
I'll take the 49ers.
Okay, a lot of contention. All right, now the reason why we're all here. 1 o'clock in Cincinnati when the new-look New England Patriots travel to the orange-clad Cincinnati Bengals. Deuce, are you first on this one?
No, you are first.
Okay, I like the Patriots to keep this one close in a close, hard-fought loss. How about that?
That sounds about right. I think, especially with the guys who are out.
Yeah, by the way, and this is really fence straddling, I think they got a chance to maybe steal it here. There might be a couple chances here where the Patriots can steal it. They're going to be in this game, I think.
I think so, too. I at least like it to be close. I'm actually going to take the Patriots with those points. I still think they lose a tight one, but I think it's going to be closer than 8.5. So I'll take New England with the points. I'm going to down. I had originally 20-10 was my prediction this week with assuming Higgins was going to play and probably a limited chase. Now with just a limited chase, I'm going to drop that prediction down. I'm going to say 17-13.
Didn't I say sort of the same thing without the gambling jargon that you just used there?
Did I jargon?
Okay, I think so.
I did say parlay.
Yeah, I think that this game has a chance to be reasonably competitive early. I just think the talent gap between the two teams is enormous. I think once Joe Burrow figures out, if it's Trenton Irwin or Charlie Jones or Mike
Yoshivas.
Andre Yeshivas, Mike Gesicki. He'll figure out one or two of these guys that he can rely on, and they'll pull away in the second half. 27-16 Cincinnati.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Fine.
All right.
That's what you think.
I'm looking for. Yeah. I mean, I do think the turnovers are an issue too. If I could see Cincinnati turning it over a couple of times in the first half to.
And I think
set
that
up some
keeps,
short fields
and
to
that
make
keeps the Patriots in the game.
to get the Patriots to 16. I could see that.
Yeah. And what's the magic number for the Patriots offense, Paul? What do they have to score to win?
24 or more.
And you question whether that can happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I only picked him to
No.
16.
No. I wasn't married to your pick there.
You hope.
I'm just talking overall.
Yeah, I think if you want to win in the
NFL,
NFL, you need to get, I think, to 24 or more on a consistent basis. Now, you can win 17-13 opening week, absolutely.
Right.
They could win the game today in the teens. I think the great Chris Hogan predicted that. A game,
former lacrosse player?
If the Patriots are going to win,
Heard
they're
that.
going to have to keep it in the teens. I think he
Which
saw it on
podcast
the
was
Twitter
that
machine.
on?
I think he's only involved in one, but
Okay.
it's one of the ones that pops up in my feed, so I don't know what that one is.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited, and I hope Patriot fans are excited for a new era. I'm excited to see how Gerard Mayo and company tackles this challenge of opening week. We've seen the preseason, training camp, OTAs, and everything like that. It's finally time for some football, and I think it's. I'm looking forward to seeing the product that he puts out there.
Time to eat.
Time to eat. Okay, for Tamara Brown, for Mike Dussault, for Paul Perillo, I'm Matt Smith. We will see you after the game for the Patriots postgame show.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.